Yo, did y'all hear
Hey,
anything?
No.
no,
There was no sound,
but it's
right?
okay. I saw it. It's on. I got it. I got it on. So we're good. Um,
That's weird.
intro. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. Yo, for the week of December 30th, 2023, East Coast time. So it's 30 minutes until 2024. Happy New Year's, boys. I'm your G.
Damn.
Thanks for joining us.
I think we actually have one more day.
Yeah, we got one more day.
Yeah,
Well,
the 31st.
I'm tripping.
So,
36 hours left until, yeah.
but 30 minutes and 24 hours until the new year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
24 and a half hours. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was way
Yes,
off. My
sir.
bad.
Maybe we should do that intro over again. But hey, man,
I mean,
thanks for joining us
obviously won't
anyway.
be no
I'm your host,
sound.
D.
This is
You
Juice.
guys,
Oh, this is Frank.
Let me. And this is
man,
a
I'm
late
sorry.
night
I'm sorry,
cast because
guys.
everything is out of whack right now, man.
I'm sorry, guys, for being flustered. I just saw the new Color Purple movie, and it's got me a little bit flustered, to say the least. You know, still a good movie. Good movie. Go see it.
Yeah,
But yeah, man.
it was good, man. I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, I might like this.
Yeah, I think you will. I think it's acted well, and you're not bored. It's just I messed up
Taraji
and
P
watched the
Henson's in
original.
it.
Oh, you know anything Taraji P. Henson is in, most of the black community, as far as women, are going to show up for that because they love Taraji,
Oh,
man. And she's a good actress, you know.
yeah, I like
And
her
most of
too.
her movies are good, recognizable. So, yeah, man.
Don't see Willy Wonka. No, don't see Wonka. That joint was terrible.
You know,
What?
Look,
so about.
Chalamet has no vocal range
Oh,
at
God.
all.
Yeah, I figured.
That joint, he was singing through a whole movie, and that was deadpan as hell. That was rough.
Oh, no.
I would have hoped that Wonka would have been good to get like more backstory on Wonka, like himself, because he's one of those like childhood characters that we know, like Willy Wonka. Especially our generation, man. I
Mhm.
don't know how many times we watched that movie in school. It's Willy Wonka.
It's kind of funny. Like seeing how you didn't like Wonka. I'm using you as a control for like all the black people, right? Because it seemed like white people really enjoyed that movie. Like
Oh.
Christmas movie and all that. Like people like, a lot of my white friends and white people that I know that saw it, they were like, "Oh man, it's such a great
Oh.
Christmas movie. Oh, it'll brighten your day. And it's just go watch this movie. It's gonna be the best movie. It's gonna be one of the best movies you watch this year." And I'm like,
Okay, I can see
okay.
that. If
But
you're looking Christmas movie range, yeah, it's a good Christmas movie.
it's serviceable.
Like it's snowy, it's colorful. The story didn't make any sense. The story didn't make any sense at all.
Mhm.
Things were just happening for no reason, and they sang a lot. It was
Mhm.
childish. So yeah, good Christmas. Yeah, if you want to put that on background while y'all drinking eggnog and whatnot, white people love that.
Okay.
It's only so much eggnog I can take, man. Maybe a cup or two, and I'm done, man. I'm over eggnog, man. I can't do
Nah,
it.
shit. Yeah, after one cup, that's it. But yeah,
Yeah.
you gotta spice that. You gotta spike it.
Even if you spike it, you just get tired of the taste. It's like, can't drink this shit. I want
Yeah.
some water.
Cause you thirsty, got that shit thick.
Yeah, you thirsty. That should make you thirstier, man.
You know what I'm saying? True.
And it looked good when you pour it in the cup. It's all frothy and shit. You're like, damn, that shit looks
Mhm.
refreshing. You drink it, you're like, man,
Yeah.
can't do this shit.
Yeah, but it wasn't a good movie.
Yeah.
It just wasn't.
Oh, no.
But I could see
Like
it
I
being
said,
a
I was
Christmas
just- I was
movie,
just-
and I could see white people liking it. So that's
Like I was just hopeful for
Chalamet.
the character of Willy Wonka. To me, Gene Wilder's still the best one. I like Johnny
yes,
Depp
true.
because I like Johnny
I do.
Depp, but Gene Wilder's the original. And I was hoping this movie would expand upon his backstory. Like, how did he get the Oompa Loompas? And how did, he build his empire, his chocolate empire, like, how'd that happen?
Not that this
And I can
not
see it
that
being
this
fun
cast
and
is supposed to
silly.
be about like Wonka, but like, why do we have an interest in like Wonka lore? Why was there any Wonka lore at all? Like, I know the movie was successful and everybody loved it. And I loved the original a lot. Like it's still like one of my top movies.
So
like I guess in like the top 50, but like it's a really good movie from my childhood.
So
but, like, why the lore?
I think the interest in the lore is like I don't know why, but like it's trying to strike a weird balance between like going to a dark place versus appealing to the more marketable audience, which is kids, right? So like I think the lore around Wonka is that it like he's a fucked up person and it's a fucked up place, and that all the kids are metaphors for like 7 deadly sins, and like there's a lot to unpack and explore within that lore. And apparently the lore is extremely dark. And it's like, do the big budget Hollywood studios want to go there? Or do they want to make money?
They want to make
you know what
money.
I mean? They want to make money.
Because it is definitely a class commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Certain. From
100%.
the first movie, which I feel like was... I saw the Johnny Depp one, and I felt like some of that was lost, right? Like there was a lot of that was lost, but it was definitely like when you saw the old dude and everybody was just kind of like in that one little house. At that same time, we got like this like these billionaires who were just like,
yep.
It's definitely a commentary on class that was definitely lost. And they did. Let me say they did bring a little bit of that back to this, whereas like there was some criticism of like corporate meddling and sabotage of the industry by like powers that be and people taking advantage of like normal people, essentially making them slaves for wages or through some other like nefarious means. There was definitely a little bit of that in there, which I felt like was missing in the Johnny Depp ones, which was just wacky to me. But
and that corporate angle,
that nigga can't sing for shit.
It kind of pisses you off because like when they throw that in movies, they know that it's fucked up, right? They know that this capitalistic kind of system that we all live under and that we all are from is kind of fucked up because it does take advantage of the little people and it steps on people, and you gotta kind of step on people to get over. That's the whole point of it, But I think that's like you're saying, like some of that was lost in the Johnny Depp film. That was what was cool about the original, right? It's like that hero. I think maybe that even leads back to what Frank was saying or Juice was saying about like why this kind of like mythology around Willy Wonka, right? Like it leads back to like it's the little man coming up, like you said, he was in the house, had all his family there. Charlie, he's struggling. He finds the golden ticket, right? And Willy Wonka recognizes the potential in him, and he was the most selfless one. He was selfless. He wanted that, like that. I think that leads into the mythology of Willy Wonka. He rewarded the person who he felt earned or earned the right to, to bestow his empire upon, and like he recognized it's the hero's journey, right? Like you go from nothing to something. You're the greatest thing ever, and I don't know, man. Sometimes
that's a good point. That's a good point. Dude.
Get mixed up. You just have to wash, rinse, repeat. That's what's wrong with the Marvel universe now. It's like wash, rinse, repeat. You come out, and I know they started it with Kang, but you finish up the whole Infinity Saga. Wash, rinse, repeat. Now do it again. Like build us towards Galactus. Build us towards Kang. Like it seems so simple. Maybe if they would have did that in this Wonka, you'd have liked it a little bit.
Like the whole idea, like that's it. So the point you're pointing out that like, okay, I can see why people want to know like why in this like sabotage, crooked, corrupt world, you have this dude at the very top who Wonka, right? Who is somehow different than the other Slugworths and whatever the other guys are called.
Slugworth, yeah. Didn't Slugworth?
Yeah, like he's different than them. To the point where he's so different, he's willing to search for purity to hand over his massive amount of wealth and power to. And people want to know, like, okay, how did he come to that conclusion? But
I
that's
didn't want
also
to.
kind of makes me think, not to get too like critical, but like that makes me think of like the whole like powerful rich man myth that like
Uh-huh.
like wealth and power makes you inherently good, which that is definitely not the truth that
Hmm.
we've ever experienced. So in a
Hence,
way, like Wonka's perpetuating a propaganda essentially of
yes.
the
And hence
yeah.
why, hence why, hence why the lore around, like, if you try to like psychologically dig in to the character of Willy Wonka, he himself is also pretty fucked up,
Yeah,
right?
it doesn't track.
For doing exactly that,
Hmm.
right? Like power, wealth means power, him at the top. But yet, what does that mean? You know, what does that mean for him? What does that mean for him if he gives away his empire to some random kid? What does it mean for him to put out the search in the first place? What does it mean
Hmm.
for the person who eventually does get his empire? You know, Charlie. What secrets will Charlie uncover? What will happen to Charlie? Will Charlie become like him? Will Charlie
Which
become
is
like the system? You know, like
He would have to, right?
well,
which is
not
a
he
that would
wouldn't
be
have
the
to, but
story I want to know.
that's what I want to know
Yeah,
too.
right. What happened to Charlie after he got the
What happened
factory?
to
What the fuck
Charlie?
happened?
Yeah, like what happens, right? Like, so it's like there's a lot of questions that cause more interesting questions. But in order to
Hmm.
do that, they're making these movies. They're making these movies pretty much for kids all the time. But like they're making these movies, but they don't dare to try to explore those darker corners of
Yeah.
the lore, right? In order to truly like open up the larger story, they're just sticking with what's marketable and what makes
Yeah.
the most money.
And you kind of
True.
understand because
And that's
they
a
have to make
issue with
money.
Hollywood.
They have to make products for families, right? But like I was watching Logan earlier this week, right? And like that movie was rated R. I saw some little kids in the movie theaters, and it was so like, but like Frank was saying, think about when you do open up the darker side of these movies. There's money to be made there, man. But I think a lot of studios are just scared of that because they want the whole family. You want to take your 6 kids.
They
I want to sell more tickets, you know.
it's all about the money. It's always been
Yeah.
about the money, and the
But
most
like just
profitable.
the flip from X-Men to Logan, like Logan was just so visceral and real and like just ferocious and like it was a great story, you know. Like so, I'm thinking like,
But
what would happen if they told a darker?
Logan was a great movie, but it didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah,
Not nearly
okay,
as much as X-Men 3,
right, because of the
unfortunately,
rated
or X-Men
Rness.
2.
So
Right.
that means only the parents can
It
go
limits
see it,
your
not the three
audience.
kids.
Right. It
Yeah,
limits your audience. Right. You want to make PG, you want to make G, PG, and PG-13 at the max, right? PG-13 is like your Marvel movie, right? Where you have like appealing to the widest audience possible,
Hmm.
who have money of their own to go in and watch these superhero movies. Right. That's why they're making billions upon billions hand over foot, because they're appealing to the widest audience possible, which is PG-13. But then you have like Disney movies, which are mostly G and PG, which parents got the money. Kids force the parents to go to see the movie. Hence why those movies are so goddamn popular too. You know? So it's all about the money.
And and
It's
that's
straight
the
up.
reason Hollywood is gonna effing like why art is dying. Remember we talked recently about like why studios are so bad, why special effects are so shitty, why they can't never figure out how to get good like all of these content creators making
They're
amazing
cutting
pieces.
corners. Yeah, they're
Like
cutting
they're
corners.
cutting corners just to make a buck, man, and
Right.
the stories suffer. Hollywood ultimately suffers
Quality
because
goes
in the
down.
end, people aren't going to go to the movies because we can see it streaming, so that's part of it. But two, it's just not worth it. The same reason nobody's going to go see watch Aquaman.
Right.
Like Amber Heard aside, which I really don't give a damn about her shitting on the bed. Like that aside. Like
She
I
can
don't
do it.
care because I know the story is gonna be it's just not gonna be there, right? One, it's a sequel. It's a sequel off of a comic, and it's just not going to attract people anymore because
But you know,
there's nothing visceral about it. There's nothing that speaks to our human condition. There's no broader like message in it, right? Like D, was there a broader message in Aquaman? Did it at least
no,
say
but
stop
I think
global
that's just
warming at least? Like
yeah, yes, they were. They definitely touched on it. That
okay.
was the crux of the movie was global warming. But you saw why, like, actually the Atlanteans started global warming first. They were the ones who did it. Like, so they tell you how they got into it, and then the humans just built upon it. So they had to come together to end it. You know what I mean? So it
To
was
end it.
cool.
Okay.
It was a fun, silly comic book movie. But
That
like
sounds like using it as
kind
like
of
a
tying it back
mechanic
to Wonka,
for the
like
story.
Frank intrigued me with that. What happened to Charlie? That maybe would have been a better story to tell than Wonka, right? Like
And it's the
At
story
least
that
for the
no one has
second
told
see,
segment.
yet. And this
you
is a
see
story that no
why
one has told yet.
you see
Hmm.
why these studios do
At
what
least
they
for
do, why
movies.
they cut corners, because that's the capitalist system we all participate in, right? Like you have to make more than you made last time. You
Sorry,
got to
guys.
make more money in 2024 than you made in 2023. If you don't, you're failing. Like companies get big, they eat the little guy, and everybody ends up being the same. Monopolies are created. You know what I mean? So,
Dead end
like, did
system.
Charlie create a monopoly with his Wonka factory? Did he kill off a bunch of mom and pop candy shops?
Who
Was he a
knows?
like a tyrannical capitalist pig? And
Who
like, what
knows?
happened to Charlie?
Who
You know,
knows? That's the thing, and
it's
that's the thing.
interesting.
No one has really told that story, at least in movie form yet. And it kind of makes me think of like, you guys watch 11/22/63? You watch that show?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, yeah.
The JFK,
The
the JF,
JFK. Yeah, with
yeah.
yeah, I watched that.
So you never watched it, D?
No,
Never
I never
watched.
watched.
Ah, man, damn. I feel like because I wanted to talk about like what happens at the end, because
I'll
basically
probably. What is it?
basically
11/20/63.
11/22/63. It's
It's a
a show.
miniseries based off a Stephen King novel, I
Yeah,
think,
Stephen
right?
King novel. I read the novel before watching the
Oh, okay.
show, and they're both like great. But like 11/22/63, it basically like I think like with Charlie applying to like Charlie or like the Wonka lore, right? Like what happens at the end of 11/22/63, I feel like that's something that's very possible, right? Like how shit just turns upside down because of the
Mhm.
alternate result, right? And because of that, I feel like maybe Charlie in the end might not have been the best fit, right?
Maybe that's
Maybe
yeah.
it's
That's
maybe
what
maybe it didn't take someone of maybe it didn't take someone that was pure in order to run this empire in the way that it should have been run,
Or
right?
needed to be run to
Right.
exist
It
as it
needed to be
is.
to continue existing. Exactly. Maybe one of the other kids was the best choice, right? But we don't know that because we don't know what that possibility could be because he picks Charlie, and maybe Charlie doesn't have what it takes, or maybe Charlie changes things too much, right? Because Charlie is still just a person, right? He can do whatever he wants when he gets this when he gets his empire inherited to him. So we don't know what possibility
Maybe
there
he
is because,
liquidates and sells it all.
like, again, think about the end of 11/22/63, or like right before the end. You know what I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah,
right
the
before the end of that,
possible.
like
Mhm.
you think of like, oh, what possibly could have happened? What actually happened when JFK lives, right?
Right.
And it's not what we thought. Not
Yeah.
at all. So it's like it's that
You-
kind of thing. Like it's that kind of thing. I feel like in order to get there, they need to go there. They need to go into the darker parts and really like find out what Willy Wonka is thinking, what is really going on in his mind, what his real history is. What is really like is there a facade in front of this empire? Is there something that we're not seeing that's like in plain sight, that's hidden in plain sight, that's right in our face about how truly possibly fucked up all of this is? And I feel
Like the
like there's
Oompa
a story
Loompas
there.
I was about to say, Juice,
have
you could
always
speak to
been
it.
sorry,
You
yeah.
saw it. No, you saw it, but how did he come to enslave? That's pretty much enslavement, right? Did they owe him a blood debt, or did he
So in the
enslave them?
original in the original they didn't really talk about it, right?
They didn't talk about
Hey,
it.
we have Oompa
Yeah.
Loompas. They do things for us, and they're here. They do things. This is what they do.
Don't ask
Nothing
questions.
else. And then remember in the Johnny Depp one, they get some backstory to the Oompa Loompas, which I don't fully remember because I didn't really buy into it. But I think it was something like they bought them, or they had not bought them, but he convinced them to come to his
It was straight
his
up
workshop.
It was straight up slavery.
Yeah,
It was okay.
I
didn't want to say it. I didn't want
to. Their home they got messed up somehow, and he convinced them to come stay with him. I think so. They wanted
Something
to be
like
there.
that.
That's what they tried to say. In the,
but they're essentially working for living
free.
there.
Yeah,
it's slavery. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
they have no. So in this one, like to add another layer of comparison. So you know Hugh Grant is the Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
So he's like this conservative British guy who's in a short body with orange skin, but he's like a refined British gentleman with his umbrella and his martini glass, who's came here to collect the debt that Wonka had incurred when he stole 4 cocoa beans from the Wonka island and left. And so, because he was asleep when when Hugh Grant, Oompa Grant, was there, he fell asleep when he was supposed to be guarding those 4 beans. And so his job is to now steal back 10,000 times worth of chocolate from Wonka to send back to Oompa Land, right? And I thought it was a weird comparison. Like ultimately, he ends up saving them, but they don't really have a good relationship because the Oompa Grant is just stealing stuff from him. But that was weird. But there was another point I wanted to bring up. Wonka's motivations. All right, remind me. What was Wonka's motivations in the Johnny Depp? It was something about he couldn't have chocolate because he had some cavity trauma or something.
Yeah, he couldn't. I don't remember it too well, but he basically said like, "Oh, I can't eat chocolate anymore. Too many cavities." Too many cavities, and I can't. It was basically boiled down to I can't eat the product. Right.
Yeah. I can't I'm going to commit myself to this.
Don't get high on your own supplies.
Right.
Yeah. And so somehow that turned to him like becoming like a chocolate magnate of just creating
instead because he couldn't enjoy it, he missed it, and he missed it so much that he wanted others to enjoy it too. Like he wanted everyone else to enjoy it too. It was weird.
So as
That's
another,
what I remember.
yeah, like that is so disconnected from like any. But anyway, so like on this one, the new one, Wonka, his motivation is he lived on a boat in the jungle with his mom, who I don't know, she did something for work and would steal like a little bit of chocolate dust. And she would like come back, and at the end of the year on his birthday or whatever, they would make chocolate together from this little dust she collected over the entire year. And that would be like, oh, he loved the chocolate his mom made. And he was trying to make chocolate that compared to his mother's chocolate. And so because of that, he became like a chocolatier, whatever, trying to find the secret of making the perfect chocolate. And so and so he's like an inventor. He's creating all this crazy stuff, and he's building all this stuff to create like chocolate. And he essentially makes chocolate like out of magic and nothing. Like he has a machine that he puts like, I don't know, it was like tears of a fucking Alaskan goddess and like a drip of lightning into a thing, and it would come out in like a little colorful, like metallic colored thing that they called chocolate, which it didn't look like chocolate. This wasn't brown. It was like yellow and blue, and it was like metallic and shiny, and it looked like foil. But anyway, in that world, that's chocolate. And so, as far as motivations go, I guess they tried to like make it more relatable. So his goal in Jones was to try to open up a shop, and maybe they're trying to add some like the Johnny Depp doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm like, he wants the rest of the world to experience chocolate because he can't have chocolate or
Right.
something.
That makes
This
sense.
one was a little bit more relatable. I guess he was trying to share chocolate because he wanted this to give chocolate like his mom gave him chocolate. Anyway, all in all, it's perpetuating the whole idea that like these billionaires are benevolent and that just by being good and naive that you become a billionaire. That I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's
I don't know.
intriguing though. It's like
It's
what did
perpetual.
Wonka have to do to build his chocolate empire? You know what I mean? Like what did he? I'm sure he had to do some devious things, but as far as the chocolate, that's always one of the more mythical things about Wonka, right? Like all three movies, it's like the chocolate man. You can't tell me in the first movie you didn't want to taste a Wonka bar. I wanted to taste the Wonka bar, man. I just imagine it tasting so
As
much
a
different
kid,
than like
yeah.
yeah. I mean because it's like what's in it? You know what I mean? It's Wonka chocolate. You know what I mean? Like it looked
We
good.
know how
You know?
chocolate's like harvested in real life. It's like
And
Well,
and and
okay, we're
and what's
talking
to
about
say
fantasy
and
movies.
what's to say that that chocolate is not a giant metaphor for something else?
I mean, it could be, but I
You
haven't
know,
never looked this deep into Wonka until
push it
this moment
I
along,
here.
think it's just
push
money.
it along, push it
I think it's
along,
just
just push
money.
it
Like
along. Could be just money, could be drugs.
I think because in this movie they literally purchase things with chocolate. Like
Oh, okay.
these guys, like they talked about, oh no, so it was like Slugworth and the other two corporations who were like pushing everybody out of the chocolate business. They were skimming chocolate off the top and putting it in like this big like chocolate syrup vat, and
It
that's
could
where they
be
kept their hidden chocolate they made that they
that
used
could be
to
safe. Yeah.
purchase illegal or off the books purchases with this chocolate that skimmed off the top. And it's just like, no, that's just a metaphor for money. Like, I don't know what else you're gonna skim off the
Gold
top like
could be a
that.
metaphor for gold, right?
Gold
Like
buying
like
currency, yo.
yeah.
Yeah,
Transactional currency. Like,
I would think most movies that like even like magical movies, because I mean that's what Wonka's supposed to be at the heart of it, right? It's supposed to be a movie about magic. It's not sorcerer magic, but it's supposed to be
no, this thing was a sorcerer,
magical
son.
and happy. I could see the chocolate being a metaphor for money, but the Gene Wilder movie is always the original to me. And in that
Yeah.
movie, maybe it's because I was looking at it through kids' eyes and I was so innocent when I saw it, but I thought the chocolate was just chocolate. It was just Wonka chocolate. There was something special about it. Like it wasn't the same as just regular chocolate. It was different, you know. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mhm.
There was a mythos around it. What does that taste like? What does an everlasting gobstopper taste like? You know what I mean? I want one.
True.
Remember, he had the little
Everlasting
candies that taste
gobstopper.
like
True.
mashed potatoes, and when you didn't taste it, it tastes like
It was a
roast pig.
gum. It was
Yeah,
like
you know what I mean?
a whole Thanksgiving dinner.
She blew up, or the turkey, the blueberry,
Yeah.
she had blueberry pie, you know.
Yeah, she blew
And
up
he
like a
took the
Mhm.
balloon.
drink that made you float. That shit would be scary nowadays. You know what I mean? A drink that makes you
So
float.
that was all over this movie. People float. Yeah.
Because he probably had gas like a mug, man. Like, how do you get rid? You got to burp. You had to burp, right?
Hey,
You
you
know,
gotta
to
come
get it
out
out.
one way or the other.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to fart or there's a burp. They're like, you probably farting a lot, you know.
That's all. But that's the thing. That movie was funny. That was mechanical. Like that made sense. You get gas. Everybody was feel to be bloated. The guy was giving out chocolate that it just didn't make any sense, man. Like I'm not gonna explain it. It should just tell you it sounds ridiculous, but anyway. The movie was weird. I guess it's a good holiday movie. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to make this about effing Willy Wonka. Like
No, it was a fine discussion. That's all good.
it's interesting.
Yeah, man.
Like is Willy
But you
Wonka
know,
good or evil?
you
Ooh,
always have to distrust
interesting
any
topic.
movie that shows like a company like Wonka's company being shown in a good light because of the system we are in, the economic system. These companies are inherently it's eat up the little man. It's step on the little guy. You know, like think about how many businesses were put out of business during COVID that just got swallowed up. That market went somewhere else. It went to a bigger business. You know, like I heard a lot of people hate when they build Walmarts in towns, right? Like smaller
No,
towns.
they crush economies. They
Because it
crush
just
local
crush anything.
economies.
Yeah, I mean, it just crushes
Yeah.
all the little side stores and
And they take
Yeah.
and they suck the money out of these small towns and send it to some corporation in wherever they're centered, Seattle, wherever
Well,
they're
I
centered
mean,
at.
Yeah,
so you guys talking about Amazon, right?
the
Like
Amazon,
Amazon
all
too. Amazon,
Amazon
giant.
to me is a much bigger example
No,
of
not
like
giant. Walmart.
of them just like completely just like steamrolling any
Yeah.
businesses that
Mhm.
are in the area or even in the next town over,
Yep.
right? Like
And Amazon sucks because I did all my Christmas shopping with Amazon for my nieces and nephews, man, and like I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to deal with the stores. It was just so easy, and
True.
they had like
I did the
all this
same.
shit, just little $10,
it's
$15,
super easy.
and it
It's
sucks.
super easy.
You
I
know, it's like
mean,
man,
like, I
you
mean,
guys are
I'm it's bad. It's consumerism, man. Like
yeah, it is. It's a
I'm
monopoly
shopping on
shit.
Amazon at least once a week,
Yeah,
like
same
for
here.
It's a
something.
monopoly. You
So
know,
it's nuts, man. It's nuts. I mean, I'm
But
sure Bezos is
the,
going to hell, but hey.
the thing is, it's not on us, man. Like we have we had laws on the books to stop monopolies from happening, and we have the agency, I forgot what it was called, that's supposed to be regulating between Congress and that's supposed to be regulating, and they're just not doing it because the reason they get elected or the reason they're able to run is because of campaign donations in the forms of thousands of hundreds of thousands of dollars that keeps them in office, that allows
So
them to secure their position. And it's kind of like
so
it's
I
kind of like
think
a
I think thinking more narrowly on that, right? It's like that's true. But I think
Mhm.
it's also more like they are technically regulating like monopolies and things like that technically, but they're not not literally, right? Like because Amazon is a fucking monopoly right in our
it
face.
is a
Like it
monopoly.
is 100% a
They're
monopoly
selling
in
in
our face.
all Yeah,
But
they're
like it's
selling
one
in
of
all
it's
everything was
like
there.
groups.
it's one literally anything you can think of,
It's
right?
a
You can buy
thousand
food.
stores in one.
You can buy food, electronics. You can buy food, electronics. The only thing you can't buy from Amazon, technically, is like energy,
Or like
right?
alcohol.
Maybe
You can
coal.
buy
Maybe
batteries.
a little
Right.
coal.
You can
You
buy
can buy
generators and
batteries. You can buy
batteries.
batteries. I'm talking about like paying your bills and things like that,
No,
right?
yeah.
Utilities,
Nah.
utilities. You can't buy utility like gas and electric and water. Well, you
How
can buy
long
water.
until you have these corporate towns where everybody works in Amazon and you pay Amazon and you live under the umbrella
It's
and
small
the
towns
Amazon?
first. It's small towns
Yeah.
first. Small towns first. Small towns first.
And you're
Right?
right, Juice. It's not on us. It's not on us as the consumer, right? Because of the system we're in. We are the consumers, and it's just a matter of ease of convenience. I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah,
I
it's
click
not
on
on
the
us.
button, So it's not
Like
on
we
us,
have
man.
elected
But
officials and a system that's supposed to stop this, but won't.
I mean, it's all paperwork and legal. Like so on paper, yeah, they're stopping it, and technically Amazon's not a monopoly, but like there are things that are monopolies that are sitting right in our faces, and we all know it. But it's one of those things that like if we try to say anything or prove it, we can't. So
What was the gaming company that recently got bought up? It was it Blizzard
Blizzard,
or
Activision,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, Activision purchased Blizzard after
right.
they have recently purchased another
They purchased
company.
was it 2K
L-
or was it shit? Oh, why am I
That
forgetting
right
this?
there is another aspect of the monopoly, right? They're sucking up these smaller, large, massive, but smaller companies
Mhm.
under their
Under their
Activision
umbrella.
umbrella.
Yeah.
And then we lose the diversity of good game material, right?
You lose
Like
you lose the independent autonomy. You
yeah,
lose quality because
creative.
then once you get absorbed into the machine, right? You get absorbed into that umbrella. You have to do things their way because they're paying the bills now.
yeah.
You know.
True.
And you figure even in a realm like Hollywood, that would be bad. You would think they would know that's bad for business because you dilute the creative pool. You know what I mean?
Studios like Marvel Studios almost single-handedly like crushed like all of the other studios that aren't the big three, like the big three, big four, right? Like your A24s and your what the fuck, Relativity Media, New Line, you know, like Marvel Studios, like just like fuck all of y'all, right? Like they are still in the most profitable movie studio in history. Like I think like if they had kept strong, like Infinity Saga strong, maybe, you know, strategically taking breaks or doing whatever they needed to do to keep that level of quality and quantity coming, yo, like Marvel Studios would have had enough money to buy out like the big studios like Warner Brothers and Paramount and well, I mean Disney is the anchor there, right? Like Disney bought out, like Disney's buying out like all these properties too, like Marvel and Star Wars and like they would have had enough money to try to buy out all of these properties. So also one thing to think about, something that I was reading the other day, apparently Warner Brothers and Paramount are thinking of joining forces. That's like
they're doing the Marvel vs. DC finally already? That's too early for that.
Huge. That's fucking huge, dude. Like
you feel like they got to do something against Disney, like maybe they feel.
But it's like, but think about that though, right? Disney is that fucking powerful, that fucking big, that
maybe Paramount
it might not make a difference.
Warner Brothers are thinking, hey, there's strength in numbers, man. We're stronger together than separate. Like if Warner Brothers tries to go up against Disney.
It's that and they're like, yo, Disney needs to be stopped because Disney is like 2 steps away from becoming a monopoly themselves. They have so much. They have so much money and properties and ownership of all the shit, right?
They have Bluey.
They fucking own Fox's entertainment side, so they own shit like The Simpsons. You know, they own like they own Marvel Comics. They own Marvel's entertainment side. They own Star Wars. They own shit like ABC. They own fucking entire TV stations. They own ABC. They own Hulu. They own
Wait, they own Hulu?
Yeah. Disney owns Hulu.
You know what? You're right, because I just watched a Hulu joint on Disney. Yeah, true.
Disney owns Hulu outright. Disney owns ABC. Disney has their fucking parks. They have their hands in everything. They have fucking branding everywhere. Right? Like if Disney, like let's put it this way, if Disney somehow were to buy Pokemon, that's a monopoly because Pokemon is the number 1 IP in the fucking world by far. You know? So it's like Disney is like,
it's a mix.
They're like 2-3 steps away from becoming a fucking monopoly themselves because they're just buying every fucking thing because they have the fucking money to do so.
They're in gaming. Like, well, no. So essentially, yeah, you're right. Like, I don't know. I would argue that they are already a monopoly. Like, you know, in the same way Amazon is, right? Like,
right?
I guess you have to update your definition of monopoly, right?
They have the controlling force. They are the controlling force in entertainment for where it counts as in like movies and TV and visual media. Disney has like a controlling share in all of that, right? Like you're watching something on TV, I would say like 33%, no, 66%. I would say like 45%. You're probably watching something that's owned by Disney in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Right. How many degrees of separation?
Which I don't think a lot of us care as long as the content was good. But that's
the issue, right?
Creative field, you're when you put everybody under the same direction, under the same umbrella, you get a similar vision, and that vision might not always be good. So you need a creative pool. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the danger of monopolies, especially with movie studios or even gaming studios. Like, you want a diverse cast of people sharing ideas and having opinions, because us as the fans can appreciate the differing, directions that you can go in, man. And yeah,
Because that's like the issue, right?
But that's
Because
capitalism.
like
Banks do it; they buy each other up.
capitalism kills creativity. Like capitalism kills creativity. Like it can create a place like Disney buying up certain properties can create places for them to thrive. Unlimited, but it's always and only going to be on limited basis, right?
Until Disney says differently.
Right, exactly,
because they say differently because they're paying.
And they're yeah, exactly. Like it's ultimately would be lose its ability to inspire fresh new work. Like that's why Star Wars that's why Marvel is hitting its wall, right? That's why definitely obviously that's why DC was hitting wall, because when capitalism comes into creativity, when the art, which movies, all of the storytelling, the visuals, all of this is art. The art loses its edge when you sacrifice the creativeness for a profit incentive.
Yeah.
Those are incompatible. That's why sellouts are the hatest. Like art that sells out, art that is inauthentic, it's felt more than it's felt, right? And I feel like that's kind of the crisis that a lot of these big companies are in. Like all of this stuff is starting to feel like it's losing its integrity.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ultimately that is what happens when you create movies with only the goal of not
making money,
not telling a fleshed out, full, wholehearted story. It's about telling a half-hearted, cynical interpretation of what you would have done, but in a restrained manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
A manner that one doesn't want to piss off
certain groups of people and
certain groups.
Arguably,
I think the biggest group of people they don't want to piss off is the people who are at the top of these studios.
I mean,
by that I mean rich people.
Yeah, I mean, like
rich
don't get
people,
me wrong.
Not
making movies is always going to be about the money, right? Like that's always first and foremost. But in there, right, like there is quality, there is potential for quality, and that's being sacrificed more and more and more and more now, especially with going back to cutting corners and not paying. You know, we had a fucking writers and actors strike for like it was like 5 months, right?
Yeah.
Like we had a writers and actors strike for fucking 5 months, and it's like that has slowed things down, right? Like that has
those people should have been thriving considering the amount of money that was made off of their work.
And then you find
they should have been thriving.
And you find out how much they should have been getting paid, or that they weren't getting paid, and it's like, yo, it's shocking, right? Like, how greedy can you possibly be? The people at the top, like, how greedy can you possibly be that you don't want to pay the people that make you continue to work, that make you continue to have a job, that had to be sitting on your ass and not doing anything and getting the 7-figure bonuses, and you're not worried about their well-being, you're not worried about the quality, you're just worried about making the money. And you are making the money. I feel like in the earlier days of Marvel, right, for example, like it was always going to be about making the money, but like the quality was there, that the money was just coming in, right? Like it wasn't a problem or a concern, right? Like when you were in like phase 2, when we were in phase 2, phase 3, like that making money was not a concern. Right. It was more like, how can we continue to fuel the money coming in? Right. Like we can do whatever we want. And that's why they started doing experiments and, trying to take these risks or whatever. Fine, whatever have you. But like some of the risks worked out, like Guardians of the Galaxy, and some of them didn't, like Eternals. But like it's still a matter of it. Not a lot of people are with you, D.
Because I didn't see it for the longest time, and I saw it, and I was like, that was not even that bad. I dug it. I liked it.
But like it's
That's
a
just
matter of like now it's like the goal, like more of the forefront of the goal is now just making money and doing a half-assed job of it and not paying the people who are making the magic happen, right?
right.
And it's like it's really crazy to me, but like it's like money just conquers all. You know, like it just conquers all, and it's terrible to say it like that, but it's true. It just that's the main point. That's the main point.
I think
That's
like
what's wrong with our politics. That's wrong with our media. That's what's wrong with our
Without the
food.
without
That's
the
what's wrong
money,
with.
without the money, we wouldn't have more of the entertainment coming in, right? Like
I don't think so. I don't think that's true. I think there will always be entertainment because that's what
Well, no,
people
I'm
do.
talking about specifically Marvel, like in this fashion, right? Like the I don't think the entertainment
To
would
this
still
magnitude, to this degree,
yeah,
to this
like
like.
if the movies weren't profitable, right? Like if the movies had failed, like if Iron Man failed to launch the cinematic universe, if like we didn't get like Civil War or Winter Soldier or Black Panther or like the influential Marvel movies that we've had, right? Like if we didn't get those and they did poorly, then the studios who have the money say like, well, that's a risk we're not willing to take. We're going to be losing money on these movies. Let's move in a different direction. And then we wouldn't have these comic book movies. We wouldn't have the abundance of them that we have now. We wouldn't be going through fatigue right now like we are. So, and it's only because we've been funneling money into these really fantastically crafted stories. And now it's become in its own way too much, but at the same time, like Marvel has hit a wall creatively, and they need to readjust and reassess, and not make it so much about the money. Like of course, make it about the money, but just don't tell us that, right? Like
Bob,
just like
Tiger, shut the fuck up, dude. Back off. Like, don't make it so blatantly obvious that you're in it for the money, dude.
Yeah, like just don't tell us that.
Man.
It's like
we all know that these studios have to make money. That's why they charge tickets to get in, right? And I think in celebration of 2024, even though I was 24 hours too early with my announcement there, I think consumerism itself
symbolic 24 hours,
right? Especially like consumerism has a limit, especially in the times that we're in with inflation, especially in the field like we're speaking of, like media and entertainment. Consumerism has a limit, especially when you're not telling smartly well-crafted stories. Like the people will get tired of it, like, and you're shooting yourself in the foot by kind of containing yourself to just this small bubble and killing your creative pool. And you figured that these studios make enough money to know that. Like, why do we know it as the consumer, as the intaker of all these products, and you don't know it? You know what I mean? Like even outside of media and entertainment, like how many TVs do we need? I mean, outside of the bare essentials like water and food and gas, like how much of this stuff do we need? It's all material. It's like, when you hear rumors that capitalism will die eventually, maybe one day capitalism will implode. And you don't want to believe it because that's the economic system we're in, and that's going to mean trouble all of us. Like when you hear stories like the U.S. dollar will collapse and all this shit, it won't be the what's it called, the petrodollar. It won't be the exchange currency anymore. That shit is scary, son. That shit is apocalyptic for the American economy. You talk about movies and shit. Like all of the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast will be talking about, what new currency we're going to be switching to.
And we're going to be doing it for free. We ain't getting paid shit for this.
Y'all can have this.
Yeah, this on the house.
We could get a bunch of yen coming in one day,
It was some yen. Get some pesos.
You never know. You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, man, I don't know.
That's his world crazy, dollars.
And speaking of Disney, and like Star. So I just saw The Color Purple, right? I did not know. It was directed by the 1985 one was directed by Steven Spielberg, right? Quincy Jones was a producer, and Kathleen Kennedy was a producer.
Yeah.
I had no idea Kathleen Kennedy from Star Wars fame worked on The Color Purple. You know what I mean? Like, she was
me neither.
A lead producer in that movie. Yeah, it's great.
I mean,
Disney has its hands everywhere. You know what I mean? I don't even know if he worked for Disney back then.
Well, nah, they didn't own Star Wars back then. But like, or Lucasfilm or whatever they spun off into before Lucasfilm, like Industrial Light and Magic, right? Like, but yeah, anyway, like the studios back in the day, it was. I mean, the nepotism is very strong even today, but like the nepotism was really strong, like really, everything was really insulated. So if you got in, basically like you could be working as like a key grip, or you could be working as a lighting person. And like it was so insulated that like the light that they'll be like, hey, you lighting person, I need an EP for this next project. It's called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Do you want to be an executive producer on it? Sure. Okay, you can't be the director because that's Steven's job. But like, hey, yeah, you. So Kathleen Kennedy, I think, was one of those like, those people who was in a really low ranking role, but she probably talks to the right people. She networked within because she was already in, and she got to start working on these big films. It's like, okay, Kathleen, you can have your turn. You can have your turn with this next film. It's called Star Wars Episode 6. No, yeah, Episode 6. Return of the Jedi. That'll be your first film that you can run as an executive producer. But again, you can't direct, and you can't score it, but you can EP it for sure, right? And then she probably had good input, and then from there it just keeps going up.
That's what I was thinking when
I mean, that's climbing the ladder.
What kind of networking did she do? She definitely got cool with the right people.
Yeah,
because I mean,
and now she fucking runs Star Wars.
Crazy.
Because it was all super insulated, like just like it was just really like everybody's just like EPing for each other's projects, and it's just nuts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it was crazy because like you like during the whole Marvel time, man, like during phase 1 and 2, we were so spoiled. We didn't know it. And like I know Frank was saying that the money didn't matter to Marvel in phase 2. I don't even think they knew how big it was going to be.
No.
By the time they got towards Endgame,
I think by the time they got towards the end of phase 2, that's when they were like, oh, we've really got something here. In fact, no, not even. I think when the first Avengers movie, when that was like mega successful by its standards in that time, 11 years ago, goddamn. But by that standard in that time, like it was like super successful, made the most amount of money in an opening weekend ever in history up to that point. And that's when I think they realized like, yo, we like got everybody at the fucking palm of our hands right now. Right, we got our hands up everybody's asses right now. Because like anything we can put out from this point on, it could be shit, but the quality was at least there. That not necessarily, because they started turning shit up, right? They started crafting these larger narratives and putting out movies like The Winter Soldier. How do you go from the fucking first Captain America movie, which is like a whole hunky-dory origin story, to fucking Winter Soldier?
That's such a good movie. Such a good movie.
Like the Bourne.
That felt like an Avengers movie to me.
I'm just talking about the leap, like the logical leap to go from like a Boy Scout origin or story to fucking the Winter fucking Soldier, who was your fucking biggest enemy at the time, right? Who was also your best fucking friend, who you failed to save, like. Yo, the story paths and the plot, like, oh my god, I can't.
But like then again, technically that's cheating, though, isn't it? Because like,
no.
Not cheating. That's not the right word. But technically, that felt a little like you picked the right story that existed, and then they did what they had to do to convert it to the cinema format. Right. But it was there, and it was already successful in its realm. It was a successful story.
It's not unlike fucking movies have been doing it forever. Books into movies,
like adaptations from books.
Yeah. Like they've been doing it forever. So it's not cheating. They've just been doing it. They're just doing it now. They're just doing it now in a different type of book, right? A book that's not as respected as like the regular, just all the words on the page instead of pictures and words. But like, it's not cheating. It's like it's been done
No,
forever.
yeah, it's not cheating. That's not the right word.
It's just like it's about what the difference is about how well they adapt said story. Even though a comic book is more long form, but like it's how well they adapt said story and how much they can fit into a 2-hour film.
Because
Right?
you're right. Like there have been adaptations of stories that just weren't good. So that
No,
one, like you're right. Like these weren't the ones that Marvel did, especially for the Winter Soldier, Civil War. Like all of these are like great adaptations that were done correctly, as opposed to others that definitely weren't done as.
Probably just for the money or to hold licenses, or like,
Yeah.
Specifically, as far as Marvel, we always hear the name Kevin Feige, but like imagine the team behind Kevin Feige. You know what I mean? Like the people that were behind him that helped him bring these stories to the screen. Those people need to be lauded as well. The writers, like Frank was saying earlier, like these people have to be lauded as well. And it sucks when these companies. I remember getting out of the weekend that the Winter Soldier came out, and we got out of theaters. I mean, everybody loved that movie.
Yeah, the energy was fucking electric for like
crazy.
A month.
People were like, I can't believe
That's how you know too. When like you leave the theater and everybody's like just buzzing.
Yeah, man. Like
that doesn't happen all the time.
No.
Rogue One, Infinity War, Civil
Infinity War, yes. Endgame, yeah. The energy was fucking electric for like a month. Like afterwards, dude, like for each of those movies, dude, like it's like
you're sitting in your seat just like,
and it's like that's the power of storytelling, right? Like that's the power of like what, like, because like it does bring us together. It does bring us together, and then at the same time the studios get the money to make more. Right? So it's like it's
how it should work.
Yeah, it's how it should work. It's how it should work, but it's when you start making the money, like the absolute like 99.9% priority, and you don't give a shit about anything.
When you're making the movie to make the money.
Yeah, because Marvel has become that big where literally anything they put out, people will go to see. When it's funny when they don't make $1 billion, that's when they're worrying like, oh my god, we only made $900 million on this latest movie. And it's like, fuck, dude, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Like we need to make $1 billion per movie. And they were doing it for years. $1 billion per fucking movie. 3 movies a year, 2 movies a year. $1 billion. They were literally making $2-3 billion a year.
But that's that predatory capitalist system though, because it can never be it can never go back. It can't go up and down. It has to keep going up.
Keep going up.
And nothing can keep going up.
But that's the idea. I mean, yeah, eventually there will be a bubble where you hit the ceiling and it pops, it bursts. But like that's the idea. That's what everybody wants. Everyone.
Score a win for Warner Brothers over Marvel/Disney though. I heard the other day that one of the highest grossing movie of 2023 was. You want to guess?
Black Adam. I don't know.
Mission Impossible. No, sorry, that's Paramount. Sorry. Warner Brothers. No, what? I
2023.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah, Oppenheimer was number 3. That joint made I forget the exact figure, but it was number 3. The number 1 grossing movie worldwide was Barbie. A Warner Brothers movie. It made over $4 billion worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, it's Barbie. Yeah,
and that was like word of mouth, right? Because it wasn't necessarily a kiddie movie. I went to see it off of Juice's recommendation.
Nah, Barbie. Barbie. I'll give you that. Barbie was word of mouth, but Barbie's one of the most popular.
Yeah, it definitely was marketable. You know what was number 2? I think.
So my daughter made me go see it. That's the only reason I saw it.
I think Mario Brothers was number 2.
What? Really?
I think so.
I haven't seen it still.
Really?
That was one of the.
It's on Netflix. I'm probably watching it.
You should watch it. It's fun.
Mario was good, yeah. But Barbie was number 1, man. $4 billion worldwide, man. Damn. I said, God damn, they made their money back times 10.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was expected, and the fact that it was actually a good movie.
Very marketable.
Yeah, I think that's what did it. Because it could have been a bad movie, and I feel like people would have just kind of passed it.
If it was a bad movie, then it would have still made a lot of fucking money. Probably wouldn't have made as much. But I feel like
Because
feel like
the word of mouth, the recommendation, the
fans,
reviews wouldn't have been good.
just the fans of Barbie, like it markets itself.
Are there really that many like Barbie?
Yes,
I want to
dude.
see it in the movie fans.
Yes, dude.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think so. Just because of the name. So they said
100%.
they had a
I'm trying
analyst. They had an analyst on
Women.
Is it
the
women?
Women.
no
Women and
kids.
girls.
Barbie,
Women and little
Barbie is a
girls.
very recognizable brand. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah,
Barbie.
yeah.
They've been making
Women and
Barbie
little
since like
girls. There
1930.
are more women in this world than men.
Especially a
True.
lot of
True.
consumers are women. You know, like they are
So
the large percentage of the consumers.
women and little girls. Oh yes, 100%.
But
The movie
also,
still would have made
so
money.
they had an analyst that was talking about Barbie. The reason Barbie and Mario Brothers were 1 and 2 are the brands. Like it's a very recognizable brand.
Recognizable
And they
brand.
were comparing that to Oppenheimer, which was third. So I think Barbie made 4 billion worldwide, but I think they're talking about the 3 highest grossing movies domestically of 2023. I don't know if Mario Brothers and Oppenheimer.
I think 4 billion would have been worldwide.
Yeah, that's for Barbie specifically, but I think Mario Brothers and Oppenheimer,
Or
I
just
think
domestic?
they were 1, 2, and 3 just domestic, I believe.
Okay.
I don't know. But they were
I'm
comparing
trying
it
to
to
see.
Oppenheimer.
I'm trying to see.
Why was
I'm trying to see
Oppenheimer
cats in China watching Oppenheimer and giving a fuck.
Yeah, and it's kind of weird because you don't really would typically. I think it just speaks to the fact that not everything is a comic book movie. Not
Wasn't
everything is
Oppenheimer
superhero movie.
banned in Japan? Like,
I'm not even sure.
didn't they say like, yeah, we're not doing this?
Well, for good reason. Yeah, I don't want to have a video.
I wouldn't blame him, yo.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, China, like you would have put who in the who?
Yeah. What?
What?
Who him?
What did he do?
No, son, no.
Hell no.
That's like releasing the
Japanese
fucking
government-
Hitler
Japanese
movie in
government
goddamn Germany and shit.
Oh, blame him.
It's like, yeah, we got this. It's called Hitler. You know
Adolf.
who? This is, no.
Yeah,
No, you
Adolf.
didn't watch this here.
Like Adolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, just Adolf.
Adolf. A biography.
Like, who?
Biographical retelling of his history.
Yeah, they were comparing that to Oppenheimer. Like, why was Oppenheimer?
You know what had a big A at the beginning of that joke? Adolf.
Yeah, just scrolled with the cursive and shit. Yeah.
It'd be like the Avengers A, and like Dolph inside of the A line.
Yeah, I'm thinking more like V for Vendetta, dude. Like the graffiti. Just
Yeah. A. With a swoop at the end and shit.
like, you want to release this where?
Here. Hell no.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I'd be like, hell no, you ain't.
You'll take that shit somewhere else. Yo.
That shit is not gonna work. Not here.
But these movie studios are so greedy. They probably did approach them and want to release that movie. They didn't care. This is like, can we release this here?
Yeah, nah,
I'm glad they would have said no.
I think the Japanese.
I hope they did.
Have
Look that up.
say about that. Yeah. I believe they would. I believe they had something to say about that. Yeah, they're like, no, we're not doing that.
Like, I can't believe you would even ask me that.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
Well, yo, we should probably segue. Like, we did have topics to talk about.
I know, it's crazy. Welcome to the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast. We went on for an hour about Willy Wonka and studio greed. Yeah. But it's interesting, though.
Is Willy Wonka evil?
What do you guys want to say?
I think Charlie probably was a mistake. I'm with Frank on that, man. I think
that's interesting. That's the interesting thing. I want to know what happened.
I want to know too.
Right choice. Yeah.
Was he the right choice?
And then I want to see Wonka come back. Like, what have you done?
Yeah, what have you done to my company?
What have you done?
Company.
You were the chosen one.
Shit now, you know.
Speaking of the chosen one, so Frank had brought up earlier that he wanted to. Well, anyway, you introduced John, Frank, because like you had an interesting discussion idea. So
yeah. So yeah, I wanted to. Just give me 1 second. What the fuck? Discard. Okay. I wanted I wanted to talk about, since we're all such big fans of Star Wars, right? You know, us and people listening. I wanted to bring up something that's kind of remained in the zeitgeist of Star Wars. It's a specific event that happened in Episode One. It's the fight between Qui Gon, Jinn, Obi Wan Kenobi versus Darth Maul. So the reason why I wanted to kind of like open that particular scene up for discussion is because, well, it's a dope scene. I feel like it kind of changed the game in many ways. First of all, being like we've never seen a Sith like Darth Maul. Secondly, I feel like it's the best choreographed lightsaber duel that we've gotten in the Star Wars mythos. You guys might feel differently, and that's okay. But just let me finish. And it also sets up. It also There's a lot that's set up with that particular fight because, you know, spoiler alert for a 23-year-old movie, but like, you know, you see Qui-Gon die, and Qui-Gon is Obi-Wan Kenobi's master, so this is portraying Obi-Wan as a Padawan. And well, Obi-Wan as a Padawan was very, like, you know, I liked him as a Padawan, right? Because he was like, you know, arrogant, brash, right? Like he was just styling for no reason. And he still had a lot to learn. He was still inexperienced, but like that movie also sets up, like, you know, Obi-Wan, you know, coming across Anakin and, you know, starting to train him, as when Episode 2 starts to happen. But like, in Obi-Wan's experience, I also wanted to kind of point out the part towards the end of the fight when Qui-Gon Jinn dies and Obi-Wan watches it helpless because he's behind like a heated door or a door that he could not pass through. And it felt like to me, while watching it, and, you know, let me guys know what you thought when you guys first watched this particular part. But the part where he straight up, like when the door finally opens and he's able to actually duel Darth Maul again, like I felt like every single hit was felt, right? Like every single hit was very emotional. And it was, for me, Obi-Wan actually giving into the Force, right? Like he gave into his emotions, and he was purely driven on emotion. And every single fucking strike that he delivered to Darth Maul was a kill shot. And like he wanted to end him, and that particular like scene was so powerful, but it still didn't matter because Darth Maul still was able to overcome, because Darth Maul was ironically in more control of his emotions in that moment. And Obi-Wan, you know, he used the Force push to push Obi-Wan over the cliff, and then Obi-Wan used the Force to grab the lightsaber to bring the lightsaber to his hands and kill Darth Maul. It's like you see that, and it's like, yo, they're using like Obi-Wan is using straight up like Sith moves in that sequence, right? Like the raw just unfiltered strikes, and like bringing things to him with the Force. It's not a move that Jedi really do a whole lot. That's a Sith move. Right, just using, using the Force
just like
to move shit around, and like when like in the part where Darth Maul, before when they start to engage, when both Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan start to engage, the part where Darth Maul fucking just takes like a piece of robot and like throws it into
and like throws it, hits the
the door opens. It's like that was completely unnecessary. But it's like
it was cool as hell. It was like a display of power and like control.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Shit like that. It's Sith. That's a Sith thing to do. Jedi don't really do that often, right? Like, and especially doing it in the capacity that Obi-Wan did it to kill Darth Maul instead of restrain him or make him submit. Right, like he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and it's like I felt like that, you know, that particular part of the scene really stood out for me. But also, you know, you have like, again, looking at Darth Maul, like you have never seen a Sith like him. The the staff lightsaber, was fucking dope when we all saw that shit come out. So like, and like, the music was amazing. Duel of the Fates, the music was amazing. Like, it was just like a lot of what happens in that fight is like, I thought like iconic to the mythos, right? Like, it's just so well done. So I wanted to kind of know like what you guys thought about the scene in particular, and like, what was your experience like, viewing it, however many times you've seen it. What was your experience when you first saw it? Like, do you think there's a better lightsaber duel in the series? Like, I just want to like kind of just like talk about
Off break. I definitely want to agree. Off break. I definitely agree that like seeing Darth Maul after the only other two Sith we've ever really seen on screen were
Vader and
Palpatine.
Yeah.
Darth Maul, his tattooed red face, those horns on his head, on all black with the double-bladed lightsaber, which we had never seen before.
Never seen that
at that point.
We
didn't even know that was a possibility at that point.
We didn't think that was a thing.
I remember seeing that doll and being like, "Oh, that's a weird. Oh, what?
Yeah,
that was such a visceral like surprise reaction. I was like, "Oh no."
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they're gonna beat this guy. What's happening?
And at first you're like, yo, it's 2 against 1. I'm like, there's no way. There's no way this one guy's gonna win. And you see him pull out the one that comes out. You're like, okay, that's an interesting way of holding. Oh shit!
Yep.
You see
and you're immediately like, oh, he's not a joke.
I'm like, oh fuck, like this guy.
Whatever's happening here. Mm-hmm.
And plus, also, like, up to that point in the movies, like, as far as the fights and the choreography goes, like, his agility and his, like, I don't know, just the moves he was using was just, it was mesmerizing. It was, like, captivating,
Yeah.
It definitely is one of the better lightsaber fights. Okay, the only caveat I'll say to that is maybe some of the Star Wars: The Old Republic cinematic video game cinematics kind of have a little bit.
I still would put this over those though. Like,
you talking about the animated or
these are from the
animated ones? Yeah,
these are from the movies. And the overall setting of this fight is beautiful. What planet were they on? Naboo, right? That's
they're on
Senator Amidala's home planet, right. And who's the other guy? Who's the other senator? Organa. So is he from Naboo
Organa,
as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Just the overall.
Is it Palpatine from Naboo?
Is he? I think he is.
I think so.
I think he was a senator there or something, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He grew up there and was
I don't know what the name of this room that they're fighting in is, but I mean, it's probably one of the most beautiful Star Wars sets in any Star Wars movie. I mean, like just the lighting in the background and like, what the hell is this room used for? Is this like an engine room or something? Like,
I think it was like
I think it was like it was definitely
docking bay
building, but I think it might have been a docking bay because you remember in the middle of this, you have young Anakin inside the ship.
Yeah.
And he when the ship goes into autopilot, when he helps like Amidala, the queen and her troops get past the robots that were guarding
he shot all the droids.
He shoots them, and then he goes into the ship goes into autopilot and automatically takes him to space. And that was like a hangar.
Yeah.
That took him right to space.
Yeah.
And then right after it takes him to space, then this part comes up, and I'm like, fuck.
Because he just walks into the room like. Like,
and look, the
he
music
just walks into the room like off the side, he's like, "Yo, I was just standing by."
Fucking good, like
the music was gorgeous. I mean, it sounded like the sound design.
Oh, the sound, the lightsabers clashing are fucking like with the good sound system. I was telling Juice about this earlier, but the good sound system. When you hear those lightsabers clash, man, like the bass. The low end on those lightsabers, man, it gives me fucking chills. I'm like, fuck.
There's nothing
so
like the sound of a good lightsaber. Like any movement, a clash, a swing, it just sounds beautiful every time.
Yeah.
Sounds beautiful, man.
Like, and that's one of the coolest things about that George LucasArts that they did, man. When they had their lightsabers, like when they developed this whole concept, they just didn't have like laser swords, which were like fire sticks.
Yeah.
They made these joints like
Pure
super,
energy.
yeah, like
energy.
condensed, bladed, like energy, like yeah, like it's crazy. And then they added the sound effects. Their sound effects, like Godzilla's roar, the sound effects of the lightsabers are one of those like peak like selections in media history.
Oh,
it's just like
you can
immediately recognizable. Immediately
close your
recognizable.
eyes and you will know that's a lightsaber. Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
And like that's a lightsaber.
You'll know if it's a swing,
crackling,
flash.
You know it's a swing, clash, parry, or like a clean hit. Like you'll know
Beautiful.
exactly what's going on by closing your eyes. You're correct. That's correct.
Yeah, man. Yep. And like this fight especially was a treat for us because as fans of this was the first of the prequels, so it was episode 1,
yeah,
right?
Episode 1.
And like it had been so long since we got any lightsaber action. For them to come out with Darth Maul striking with the horns, red, tattooed, like Juice was saying, with the double-bladed lightsaber we never saw, this was definitely a peak moment for any Star Wars fan. Was this fight? It's definitely up there. It's definitely one of the best fights in Star Wars because of the moment it was, you know. And I gotta say, man, so when Obi-Wan first rushed it, first of all, what the hell were those plasma doors for? Like those little shields? Like,
I don't know. It seemed like they might have been like security doors of some kind.
Yeah, maybe
like
everything was kind of malfunctioning.
Because remember when they eventually wind up in that room at the end, there's like a big pit, which means maybe it's some kind of core for the hangar.
Right.
Or whatever.
Maybe it's like a security measure to keep people out or whatever. You know?
Yeah, so that they don't get, I don't know, like they don't die or something. But like
so they don't like sword fight in the fucking energy room.
But this part right here, I love this part. Like, I'm not, you don't have to play it, but I love this part too because like in this part when Qui-Gon and Darth Maul are going through those doors as they're opening, like if you look in the background while Qui-Gon is fighting Darth Maul, you see Obi-Wan running as fast as he can to try to join the fight, and he's too late. He's too late by a couple of seconds.
Like you see his lightsaber back here.
You see his lightsaber back there running in the background. I'm like, chef's kiss. This was great because it allows for depth. It allows for depth of field right here. You're paying attention to what's the fight in front of you, but you see Obi-Wan signaling like I'm coming. Like just
I'm trying
on. Like I'm moving as fast as I can. And that brings out emotion in you because you're like, oh, like the door closes in his face, like fuck. You know,
like, even when Qui-Gon and Darth Maul are facing off because the door's closed, and then Obi-Wan, the door's open, and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul start going again, and Obi-Wan rushes.
Yes, when he starts running,
the last door.
Because the doors in the front open first.
Mm-hmm.
So Obi-Wan still has to wait for his door to open, and then they're starting the battle, and then as soon as his door opens, he starts running as fast as he can, and then he gets caught by the last door, and he has to watch.
And that essentially, that last door sealed Qui-Gon's fate.
Yep. Because I feel like Obi-Wan also feels like if he was able to make it through that door, they would have made a difference.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
I love this shot right here when Maul was like pacing, and like Qui-Gon was like sitting there just like stoically.
Oh, I love them.
And then as soon as it opened, Qui-Gon came in with the strike.
Yep, he just leaps. And it's just like,
like no emotion, he just
starts fighting again.
Yep.
And I like the cadence and the aggression of Darth Maul too, like just pacing back and forth, staring down Qui-Gon. You know what I mean? Like
all the time, like a lion, right? Like he was like a beast. He was like
yes. He was just pacing back and forth, just
he was just pacing, waiting.
Waiting. He was just waiting. He's pretty much saying right here too. He's pretty much saying like, as soon as these doors open, I'm gonna kill you.
I'm gonna kill you.
I'm going to kill you as soon as these doors open.
Yo, you're right, man. Like, look, you're right. This might be one of the greatest fights, and I'm not gonna say as far as choreography, but as far as like this whole scene, like the entire stream of events that happened, the way that like this like you already laid out, like. just the way the entire set of events happened, moving as they moved from the hangar to the energy rooms and all across. Like, man, this was like one of the best like
Like it's
scenes ever,
so
man.
well
And Darth
done.
Maul is
Darth
he's an
Maul.
icon, like just off of this.
Like people,
Remember they
we
brought this
still
nigga
talking
back.
about this dude
They brought him back
in
after he got cut in
Solo.
half because he was so good.
They brought him back in Solo is a prequel, but they brought him back in that's right in Clone Wars. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
His
I
ass
think
got cut in half, and they were like, "Nah, we love him too much."
Darth Maul, like people are still talking about this dude to
Yeah.
this day.
he's definitely one of the more memorable Force users that we've ever seen, just
Like-
from his look and from just his.
And again, the unique weapon,
aggression.
the look, the uniqueness of him in general, and like you also pay attention, like in the fight before. Oh man, this part. Oh man, this
You
part.
know,
Go ahead.
going like I remember Frank was saying that the first time when Obi-Wan really rushed Darth Maul after the door, but after he had killed Qui-Gon, I was proud of Obi-Wan in that moment, man, because Darth Maul had proved his viciousness. He proved that he was a threat.
Yeah.
And you weren't sure that, like, if this guy was able to take out Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan's still
a Padawan.
He's not even
he's
a Padawan still.
So he's still a Padawan, and that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say too. If Obi-Wan hadn't given into his emotions and given into the Force, Obi-Wan would have died too. Obi-Wan would have absolutely been fucking killed before Darth Maul pushed him into the pit. Like he absolutely would have been fucking killed if he didn't give into his emotions.
Maybe that also leads into his choice to train Anakin. Not only
that absolutely did,
because he knew
get
more control over
that's the face when he got stabbed.
yeah.
Like
he
damn.
He knew Qui-Gon would not agree with him giving into his dark side feelings, right? So like maybe in his way of honoring Qui-Gon in sacrifice, I'm going to train this boy that he believes.
No, that's exactly it. I think that's exactly it. And also at the same time, like if Qui-Gon was still around, then Obi-Wan wouldn't have given in. He wouldn't have given into the Force. He wouldn't have given into his emotions. But this is like traumatic event happening in a matter of seconds for Obi-Wan, right? He said, "Fuck all this training. I'm gonna fucking kill you. You're gonna die." And fucking literally this sequence right here that follows this, literally every single fucking shot is a fucking kill shot. He even succeeds in disconnecting one half of the staff saber.
Slices his staff in half, yeah.
He slices that shit in half and kicks the shit out of him. Like this fucking sequence was fucking beautiful. Like so fucking good. Oh my god.
Obi-Wan proved his warrior ability, and he proved to me in that moment that he was better than I thought he was. You know, at that point.
Like I was telling Kaiman, like Obi-Wan's one of the greats, right? He's always going to be one of the greats as far as Jedi.
Will it play? No, it's not going to play.
Oh yeah,
but it's all broken up.
But like,
Obi-Wan's going to be
one of
the
great. Obi-Wan's going to be one of the greats. But like right here is like this is like I feel like this is like. I don't know. This is like a weird. It's like a weird middle place where he's like, I'm not like fuck all my training, but I still have a duty to end this person or to subdue this person. But he winds up killing him. He's like, nah. He's like, you can't kill my master, and I'm gonna let you live. You know, like it was just man. Like every single fucking blow, I fucking felt it. I don't know about y'all, but I felt every single fucking strike that Obi-Wan did. And Darth Maul was like, even though Darth Maul seemed a little bit overwhelmed, Darth Maul was still hanging with him. You know?
Oh yeah, I think Darth Maul was a better. He was
absolutely better
user,
100% better.
But I think, like you're saying, I think Obi-Wan gave into his emotion, which kind of gave him that. I mean,
it gave him the edge.
Darth Maul beat him. He knocked him down into the. He was just Darth Maul's mistake was toying with Obi-Wan and letting him, striking the surface to make it spark up. And
Obi-Wan's like, hey, that little cool move that you did earlier, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna bring the blade to me, and then, man, but like, yeah, you're
right, man. Through all the times that we've seen Obi-Wan I think you got something to that, man. He did give into his. This is the closest we've ever seen him give into his.
This is the only time. This is the only time we've ever seen him give into his emotions. But again, he's a Padawan. He's not experienced yet.
This is the only time.
Yet. Even in the fight, even in the battle against Anakin in Episode 3, it was an emotional fight, but only really on Anakin's side, right? Obi-Wan was straight up there just to say, yo, you need to chill. Like, I can't be.
There was something that I watched recently.
At that point, Anakin had killed a youngling, so I think maybe Obi-Wan was on a kill mission.
I don't think so. No, he absolutely was not.
You're right. He wasn't, because he didn't kill him. He should have honorably ended him.
He could have.
He could have saved thousands of star systems if he'd have just killed Darth Vader right there.
Yeah. He could have, but he didn't. Because Obi-Wan the whole
time. I don't know, man. I want to push back a little bit. I got to push back a little bit.
Okay.
Well, all right. So, one, I think like he definitely gave into his emotions. But at the same time, maybe some of that was just him like letting the Force kind of flow, you know?
Yeah.
But that's not like giving into your emotions. That's in the way
into the dark side.
That's allowing the Force to, like, you know, we're getting into like woo woo, like you can't really solidify, like.
I know what you mean.
I remember
the dark side. There was just kind of powerful.
Yeah, he was focused, right? Like his intention was okay. He made the decision. I don't have to. Yeah, he was in the zone, right? And like, I don't feel like there was a lot of rage in his actions, right?
Oh, I do.
Like,
I do. I think from that initial flurry when he first came through those doors.
Yeah, when he first came through the door, it was just fucking like it was just rage, dude. Like I felt.
But remember, Maul matched all of that.
He did. Yeah, he did.
Like, I don't feel like there was any point where Maul was out of control. Even when his thing got cut in half.
When his staff got cut in half, he was.
That's not out of control. That shit happens. He fought with one. He was on the losing ground at that point. But then he recovered like immediately. Like that's just part of a duel.
Obi-Wan decided to be fancy. Because Obi-Wan decided to be fancy. Obi-Wan could have ended him right there when he was on the ground. But he decided to be fancy and try to do a fucking somersault over him. Which was, again, beautiful choreography.
No, I don't think. I think he had to. You don't think Maul could have caught him if he just came in with a stab? He had his blade.
Maul was falling to the ground. Obi-Wan was on top of him.
Yeah.
Why did Obi-Wan need to leap over him? He should have just stabbed him right there.
I don't think he could have. I think. Look, I don't know. We can never know. This is like choreography, but like
he absolutely could have ended him right there. Because when he knocks,
I'm watching it again, man. I don't know. Like
watching it right now too. Yeah.
When he knocks the staff out, and then he kicks Darth Maul to the ground. With the way this man has been coming, he could have.
There was rage there, Juice. There was rage there.
Nah, man.
Right before Maul kicks him into the pit.
I'm looking at it. Like he's holding Maul is holding the sword.
That's fine. Maul is holding the sword, but
I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna go to the point right now. I know what you're talking. I'm gonna go to it right now.
Obi-Wan didn't need to do the somersault. He could have just, as he kicked him to the ground, he could have stabbed him as he was going down to the ground.
But I think a lot of fights in cinema can be ended if guys just did the logical thing, right?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So we
had
to have a little bit of parity there.
True,
but there was definitely rage there, Juice. Look at Obi-Wan's face during the fight.
Once the door opens and Obi-Wan comes out, there was absolute rage in every single fucking strike.
I don't think Obi-Wan really recovered emotionally until he was hanging in the pit and he saw that lightsaber and he kind of brought him back home. Like
I absolutely agree with that too.
Because it just seemed like his face calmed down then.
That flurry in the beginning, once the door opens, fucking rage.
Yeah, he was
going at Darth Maul hard.
And
like, I don't even think.
But Darth Maul was not out of control in this jump. Like,
oh no, not Darth Maul, not at all.
It seemed like maybe he was a little bit like oh shit. But he was still holding on. He was still holding on to. He was still holding his own though. I'm not going to deny that. He was still holding his own, but I feel like Darth Maul was like, "Oh fuck!" Like this is a little unexpected for me, but I'm still that good.
Even the pace that Darth Maul is doing before the final door opens is menacing. Like I was proud of Obi-Wan in that moment, man, because I was like, how's he gonna beat this guy? You know, this is the best Jedi Force user we've ever seen.
Rage.
You know, and then when Obi-Wan came in with that flurry, I said, okay, all right, Obi, like he's holding his own.
Yeah, this like the flurry right like right at the beginning of this sequence, like man, just rage, dude. Every single fucking hit, I'm like rage. Like he's fucking pissed.
Just like, dang it, I missed.
Look, right here. Okay.
Yeah, right here.
He didn't need to do this.
Hey, Obi-Wan did kind of get cute. He tried to get cute a little bit. He did.
Yeah. He didn't need to do that.
Look, Maul parried that.
Just go in with a downward kick.
I'm talking about right before that.
Here. He's falling right here.
This part.
He's falling right here, right?
Yes.
He's holding the sword.
So what?
Hey, dog, he kicked the shit out of
dude, that's a simple cross. Like, that's a cross. He kicked the shit out of him.
Sideways.
Do you think
but if, what? All right, if he came in, if Obi-Wan came in, worse off, at this point, his back is turned because he already struck through, so he's purred. He has to come back around. If he came in, it would have had to be an overhead strike. Maul's arm is out. He'd have slapped that shit to the side. It's just,
I got you, but he was being cute. He was being cute in that fight. He didn't have to do that.
I think he had to do that to throw Maul. Look, he already picked it up and he had his sword back in two hands before he finished falling.
Because Obi-Wan gave him the opportunity to do so.
He gave Maul a chance to recover with that somersault.
I don't know. Okay, maybe. I don't know.
He did.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know.
We have to watch
this. He kicked the shit out of Darth Maul.
Yeah, I'm watching the motion, and this is like the motion went like this. He kicks him, right? Maul goes back,
the floor,
right?
Wide open. His chest is wide open.
But at that point, the kick was still through. The kick was through. He had his back turned. He had to come back around. That takes time. That time when he's falling, he had to move.
He didn't have his back turned. He could have followed the dude as he was falling, and boom, end him. Just a stake to the heart. Just like.
Well, arguably, maybe he just wasn't fast enough to do that.
But he was fast enough to somersault.
but the somersault was parried, so the somersault was what he had to do. I'm thinking the somersault is what he had to do. No, maybe not had to do.
Somersault's what he did.
The somersault is what he did. I'm thinking to try to throw Maul off to get a strike in that he probably would have expected, because Maul, being an assassin and knowing very well how the fight goes, would have known that he would have been assumed to be prone.
So
in this position, Maul had killed a lot of niggas up to this point. He had killed other Jedi up to this point.
Guys, let's talk about what happens after the somersault. So that does make sense. He does the somersault to get behind his back, right?
Mm-hmm.
But why in God's name? Like it's a matter of him taking the time to do the somersault. Him here when he's behind Darth Maul's back. Okay, cool. Darth Maul is able to do a kip up, and then Obi-Wan's chasing him, and Darth Maul's like, nah, no. Like, you can't catch me. But like at the same time, this right here, right here with Darth Maul's chest wide open, I'm talking about not in the same instant, but like split second later, Obi-Wan could have just extended his arm to the ground and killed him. He didn't kick him. He was like, it's not like he kicked him like 5-10 feet away. He kicks him and Darth Maul drops right at his feet. So all he had to do is just like drive a sword right into him.
Or even without like the
while
killing
he's trying
blow,
to recover.
Just maybe try to incapacitate him without the somersault. You know what I mean? Like a slicing a leg off would be almost as good.
Slice his hand off or something.
Yeah, dismember him a little bit.
But like,
you know, these scenes always.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I feel like Maul was ready for this shit. I'm watching the joke. Look, I'm comparing this what I know. I'm comparing this what I know from Maul from the books and what I know from Maul from like just his experience in fighting and what we've seen Maul do up to this point. I feel like it would have been an amateur move for Obi-Wan to see him with his back on this ground for a half second and think he can fucking thrust through him. Like, I think Maul would have ate him up at that jump, man. Like,
Or
maybe.
It's all about recovery.
Now, maybe a somersault wasn't necessary, but
It was not
I feel
necessary
like
at all.
somersault was not necessary. Fair enough.
Not necessary
But I feel like him going like kick and then having he did roll, but kick and then try to stab him through. Maul would have been ready for that jump. He didn't take his eyes off him for a second.
Except when he was on his back.
Exactly. I feel like when he was on his back, that was like it would take him a second to recover from that, which Obi-Wan gave him more than enough time with the somersault to get up.
It looked cool though. The somersault did look cool
as shit. I'm not saying it didn't. It looked cool as shit. It was.
I think Obi-Wan tried to get a little cute because he had saw
that
what
side kick,
and he was like, "Hey man, I can do some shit too." You know?
That's also the Padawan. That's also him as a Padawan. Again, very like unnecessary, like styling for no reason, like always twirling his lightsaber constantly. Every time he fought in this movie, he was twirling his lightsaber just needlessly, right? And it's like even when he's running towards,
he twirled his lightsaber when he fought Grievous, didn't he?
Oh, all the time, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that's his thing.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Episode 2 were in Clone Wars. Episode 2, he was twirling it a lot.
He was. He's definitely like
lightsaber too.
Young and brash.
I think there was a thing about the making of the Star Wars with Hayden Christensen and with Obi-Wan's actor. What's his name again? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name.
Ewan McGregor.
Ewan McGregor. Yeah.
So they had to learn the choreography. So I think they learned they wanted to have like a signature move. You know, Anakin always does that kind of lightsaber twirl. He did it in Ahsoka.
You're right. Yeah.
It's like it's this kind of move. You know.
Yo, there was one thing I wanted to say though about something Palpatine has said. So it's in one of the comics. I think it was in one of the comics. Where it was like after the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight, and you know how Anakin had lost, and it was Palpatine and Vader talking, and essentially, Vader pointed out that like if all the Jedi it was a good chance that like if all the Jedi had approached like the knowledge that the Sith existed and like the knowledge that like you just like had approached all of these occurrences the way that like Obi-Wan, who he like Palpatine respected Obi-Wan for his constantly fighting fucking people up, but like that like he was like, look, if the way Obi-Wan approaches things when he's focused on something that like there's almost no beating him essentially, because once he puts his mind and once he decides that he's going to do something,
like
he will follow through and do it. And like Palpatine actually kind of was like, that's Obi-Wan's like greatest strength and why he's like probably one of the hardest enemies he had to face out of all the other Jedi. It was like Obi-Wan, once he set his mind to something, there was no other side to it. It was like, we're gonna do this now and that's it. And that's why he beat Anakin, that's why he beat Grievous, that's why he beat Maul.
I don't know if that's why he beat Anakin. Anakin, that was hubris. He told Anakin, I have the high ground, bro. Don't try it. You know what I mean? He gave Anakin a chance. Anakin was hyped up on his own confidence at that point. You know what I mean?
Was there any point where like, but I'm trying to think like, was there any point where it seemed like Obi-Wan was like losing?
No.
Well, yeah, and maybe in the OG movies, when he dies, that's the only instance where it like, but again, I think that's only because it was more emotional. It was more emotional, and that was another time where he was emotional, and he didn't want to, because he loved his student like a son, and he didn't want to kill him, so he just kind of like purposely lost that battle, you know.
I think he lost on purpose too, and it kind of sucks. It's like because I know that George Lucas and the
But if
team, they didn't know where the story would end up when Obi-Wan fought Vader that first time. But man, what a missed opportunity, Like if we had all this backstory and then they meet up, like just could have been a powerful moment. Like his sacrifice could have been very, very powerful. But it was the first movie.
Question.
Everybody knew this shit was gonna blow up.
Would you guys be open for like a completely like recreation of episodes 1, 2, and 3? I mean, not 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, and 6. Right. Like new actors. Same story essentially with new choreography, new CGI, new all the stuff. Get new actors, of course, like I said.
Of course, I would watch it personally, and I would eat it up as a fan. But let's go in a different direction. Like Star Wars is huge. Like if you're gonna commit time and resources to movies, don't do
I don't know, man.
Go ahead.
No, I would say it's definitely like double-edged for me. Like I would like a lot of things updated, but like more on the technical side. I would like things updated. I feel like the actors, like Sir Alec Guinness is gone. Carrie Fisher is gone, but like
you'd have to revamp. You have to do everybody.
Yeah. I feel like, and Mark Hamill just wouldn't be able to do it anymore. But I feel like the actors, it would be tough for those reasons and more, right? Like it's hard. It's kind of like I think it would be like a disservice to like recast like the dead actors in those roles and that they made iconic, and then also like it would seem like a cash grab. It would seem cheesy if you tried to like recast the actors that are still alive with like new blood, which might not work out. I mean, historically, it hasn't really worked out yet. So, with
especially
these kinds
when
of
Star
things,
Wars is such a
I would say honestly, the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies in their own way worked in that capacity.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Those weren't reboots per se, except for the second movie. The second movie was like a reboot of The Wrath of Khan. But like, I would say update the technical stuff, right? Update the lightsaber stuff, update the space battle stuff, like the CGI there. Update the like the droids, like don't make them so like rigid all the fucking time and like beep boop and shit like that. Like, update them to be a little more modern, but try to keep it classic. But that's where I would kind of like, that's where I'd be like, okay, yeah, cool, do that. But nah, not so much. Not so much.
I was thinking like
human element.
So my issue is that like I feel like it's not that the old Star Wars don't hold up, because they do. And I remember that Star Wars, like, 15 years ago, almost, like, they did, maybe it was like 10 years ago. Remember they had a re-release and they added, like, CGI Jabba the Hutt.
And they also added, like, CGI. A sky elevator. Yeah, like a sky elevator.
And they had some, like, Wampa or... Yeah, they added, like, a whole lot of CGI stuff in there, which was cool, right? It was okay. I like that. Just seeing like they had some new shots in there and everything. But I feel like I honestly, and I wouldn't do it in a movie form, but I think the series would kind of benefit from if not a full-on retelling, maybe you take segments that happen from the movies and incorporate it into another story or part of a story during that time, right?
Following
during the and you introduce like new characters acting as Luke Skywalker, as Leia, as Han Solo, right? During these like in between times, and you maybe like a mini series or show or something, and maybe it won't be every part of it, but it'll be parts that establish that we're still telling new elements of this highly complex, like interwoven story, right?
I see what you mean.
And we could potentially get just like we had new Vader fights with Obi-Wan and Vader. We could potentially get new lightsaber fights in that time. Because remember, like the Kenobi series happened when Leia and Luke are little kids, right?
Yeah.
I did not like
you didn't like it?
Didn't like it, man. I thought
really? Okay.
Obi-Wan
well, hold on. I was just gonna say, like, I think that the series would benefit from like
but I mean, they kind of have already done that, right? With The Force Awakens, they kind of rehashed the whole episode 1 thing.
That's what I was gonna say. The Force Awakens is basically a shot-for-shot remake of A New Hope, just with newer characters in place.
No.
Yes, it is.
I mean, yes, it is. Okay, fine, but like, that's not what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, sure, but
the universe is so rich. You don't have to retell any
story. I want them to go another direction with that story, right? Like that part is done. Go a different direction. You got a whole universe. I want them to remake. I want Vader back, right? Like, bring Vader back. Get Luke back out there. I want to see Luke fight with the skill that he had mastered, right? I want to see Obi-Wan fight like on some real shit. Yeah, I want to see good Force. I want to see Force lightning. I just want to see it. Like I want. I don't know. I would like that. So but I get it. Everybody wouldn't. I know. I get we'll have pushback.
I want to interject that like with a different movie that kind of did closer to what you're talking about, which was a failure. Phenomenal failure. No, Matrix 4. Matrix 4 did a lot of what you're talking about.
Why you gotta start with that
movie, look, I'm just trying to draw a comparison. That's all I'm trying to do. The Matrix 4 is so bad. The Matrix 4 did a lot of what you're talking about, right? Like bringing in new characters to replace old ones, right? With the same as the same character, like they replaced Morpheus, they replaced Agent Smith, they replaced oh my god, there's one other character that was pretty important that I'm forgetting. But they replaced like four main characters in that movie with other actors. They also had scenes from the old movies put
Agent Smith was the worst cast I've ever seen.
Oh my god, that was fucking awful.
What Dude, you never didn't see that movie?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh my god!
But they incorporated. They literally showed you scenes from the old movies and incorporated it into the storyline for the Matrix 4.
Did they do the no?
And they had the same director with Wachowski.
Yes, they did. That was one of the parts. That was one of
the really.
Parts. Yeah, it was part of a bit of a montage, but that was one of the parts. Yeah.
What part was it?
In the beginning. Remember the part where all the agents are shooting at Neo when he discovers he's the one?
Bro, that movie I was so hyped up for that movie, man. I remember seeing.
Me too, man.
So disappointed.
You want to talk about a rabbit hole? I can go into a fucking huge.
I was trying to convince myself that I liked the movie an hour into it. And I was like, this shit sucks.
Sucks.
But they had the same Keanu Reeves.
Yes, so they did.
Not the same.
They did. They did. But I'm saying like.
Those continuity all off. That doesn't make any sense.
It was like John Wick, Keanu Reeves.
The idea, yeah.
Who they call it.
The idea that you have where it's like, yeah, replace the characters, have different characters, play the same characters, but with like new actors, and also have the old story take place at the same time. The Matrix 4 did a lot of that, to be honest with you.
It was a fucking failure. I'm going to say that again is not what I mean.
Okay.
Because you're right in saying that is gimmicky. That is gimmicky.
Yes,
and that is cheap. That is gimmicky and cheap. That is not what I'm talking about.
Okay. Agent Smith had to be one of the worst recastings of a character in a movie franchise.
I don't know. You can't recast my dude, man.
I mean,
they did.
Christian Vigo. What's his name? Vigo.
And also, you can't recast freaking Lawrence Fishburne. Like, You're right. Like, there's no
pissing me off
reason
is
that should have that would have done well.
The thing that's a travesty about that, like, just as a quick aside, like, they didn't even fucking call him.
Who?
Like Lawrence Fishburne, they didn't even fucking call him.
The guy looked like Morpheus, you know.
That
he looked
and your boy Yahya Abdul was
Yahya?
the Morpheus replacement. He was Morpheus.
He don't look like Lawrence Fishburne.
He doesn't like him.
He looked like Morpheus. He
Didn't
didn't
he
look
have
like
hair?
Fishburne. He looked like Morpheus.
Nah, he had no hair.
There's a moment there.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Well,
Agent Smith
at least he was bald.
Neo was disappointing in that movie. But yo, jumping back to
what about
Star
the
Wars, real quick.
Merovingian? But that was the biggest travesty of all.
Even his tone was a letdown because he was just screaming the whole time.
Like, what happened, dude?
He wasn't calm and in control.
This guy was like
they brought the Merovingian back?
Oh, they sure did.
Like, the whole idea of the movie was so dumb. Like, I don't think there was one
I'm not
part
gonna
of that
ruin
movie where I was
my
like, okay, this is cool. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, there is one part where they were like diving out the windows at the end. That was cool.
I didn't give a shit about any of the fucking.
I didn't give a shit about
the Breakfast
anybody
Club kids that were a part of the new hackers or what. I didn't fucking care.
That had to be one.
What they should have done is introduce a new Neo.
For the amount of hype that was behind that movie, it was one of the worst movies.
They should have introduced a new one, and they should have done what they did with Star Wars. A new. What? Damn it! What you just called it? The one with Rey.
They technically did introduce a new one. There's a two.
Yeah.
It's two now. You know. It's not.
No. There's only one. See what the fuck? What the fuck is that?
There's only one, but there's two of them. It's just weird the way they did it.
But you should only be one at a time. Because remember, we established that there's layers. That was
part of the problem.
That there's time periods. They just threw that away.
Guys, let's not argue about the Matrix. It was a shitty movie.
It was a shitty movie. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna spoil my
hate for that movie.
Memories.
It's terrible.
No, I get it, man. I'm so mad.
That movie did piss me off. It literally pissed me off. I was hyped.
Movies. I love. Say what you want about the sequels. I love the Matrix movies because the first the first movie was a perfect film. Film from beginning to end. Right? Nice 3-act structure, great characters, great story, great development, more continuity, philosophical questions. Perfect movie. The second movie, not so much, but the second movie had the most ambitious action. The most ambitious action, I think, still to this day.
That clone fight is one of the coolest fights in a movie ever. You know what I mean? Just that fight with the clone.
Yeah.
Even the use of the CGI fighting, they did.
Ambitious. Because the fight was like 6 minutes
long.
The
freeway? Oh my god!
5 minutes of that fight was all practical, and I'm like, yo, this is great. I love it.
And even as much as Revolutions kind of let me down a little bit from an action standpoint, it was a well wrapped up story.
It wrapped everything up really nicely.
I thought it did too. Yeah, I know a lot.
And there was no reason for
Resurrections compared to Revolutions. Revolutions is a 10 out of 10 compared to Resurrections. Juice, just watch this. This shit, it's gonna piss you off. It's gonna make you mad when you see that shit. It's literally gonna make you mad.
It's so crazy.
I watched the Animatrix. And that is enough, and I like the Animatrix. I'm good.
The Animatrix is cool, yeah.
My Matrix lore is complete without Matrix 4.
Yeah.
You know what Matrix 4 is? Matrix 4 is capitalism and Hollywood coming in to destroy a beautiful story for money. That's it. We already talked about that.
Literally, in the story, it tries so hard to be meta.
I forgot how meta that shit was.
Capitalism. They literally talk about how
they talked about remaking the Matrix inside the Matrix.
Matrix. Yes,
they talked about remaking they
literally.
It's so dumb.
Is that irony or audacity? I don't know.
It was stupid. This was actually no. That part I kind of like because they. So if you don't mind, this little spoiler juice. They kind of had Neo as was he a video game designer or something? I thought that part was smart. How they kind of had him back into the system, and I kind of was on board with the meta thing if the story had unfolded and was cool, but like everything after that, like as soon as Agent Smith walks in, it just takes you out of the shit. It's just like it's so different, and it was just
so dumb.
terrible,
Oh my god.
terrible. He didn't even sound like him. He kept calling him Tom. Agent Smith don't call him Tom.
They wanted to be cute and modern.
He
Hey,
called
Tom.
him Mr. Anderson. That was his name.
This is Mr. Anderson.
You
He
are
called him
pro.
Tom in the movie, Juice.
You're a fucking
Tom.
pro.
They called him by his first.
It wasn't even Mr. Anderson. It was Tom.
It wasn't even
Hey,
Thomas. It was Tom. He called him
Fuck,
Tom.
bro.
Oh my god.
Look
so
how
stupid,
evolved I've become.
But hey, I wanted to get y'all
Oh my
opinions on what I was talking about before cast. So I know we went on to the Matrix and all that deal, off of remakes and stuff. But so real quick, going back to the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight. So like I was saying before cast, there was a part. So and it's kind of relevant because of Ahsoka. It just came out recently. Spoiler alerts for Ahsoka if you haven't seen the first episode. But there's a part where Sabine Wren, who is a very prominent character from Star Wars Rebels and Ahsoka, gets stabbed through with the lightsaber, right? I forget the girl's name in Ahsoka.
Shin.
Which is weird. So are they Dark Jedi? They're Dark Jedi. They're not quite
They're
Sith.
Dark Jedi, yeah. I think so.
Because their lightsabers don't seem quite red to me. Is that just me? Am I tripping? It doesn't seem
No,
it's
they're
as deep
orange.
of a
Their
red
lightsabers
as-
are orange.
Yeah, it looks orange, right? That's what I thought. I was
Yeah.
like, are they orange? But somebody said it was red. Somebody told me they were red.
They're not
I
red.
thought they
They're
were
not
red. I
Sith.
thought they were orange.
Like
too. I was like,
Sith,
am I tripping?
Sith bleed their lightsaber crystals. Like if it's red, it's red. It's red.
Right. So how have they explained how they get the orange? Is that a Dark Jedi colored lightsaber?
So the kyber crystals come in like whatever color you want. Like you can get whatever color you want made. And
See, I didn't know that. I thought I thought you didn't find out the color until you ignited the lightsaber. I thought it came from.
So I think they're rehashing some of the lore for that. Like, if I remember, like the reason Ahsoka has white blades has something to do with the fact that she purified blood crystals.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that like the reason they get like a orange or a green blade or a blue blade would have to do with the Jedi as they attune their weapons, right?
I thought the green and the blue were like naturally
like classes or yeah.
Like
I thought the Guardians got blue
crystals.
I think they did change that. I think they changed that.
Right.
So they updated it to the crystals, you know, reflecting essentially the colors of the Jedi's, like essentially their demeanor or their type.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So there's a moment where Sabine gets stabbed. I thought they killed her because I hadn't watched Rebels yet. I thought she died, and it sucked because I was like, man, she was actually a cool character. I'm sad to see her go. And then the next episode, she just recovered, you know. So going back to the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and Darth Maul fight, Qui-Gon suffered a similar injury, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a theory that he died. He did, you know. So there was a theory that there was a gap in time between episode 1 and this episode of Ahsoka to where medical technology had advanced to the point where they could save Sabine Wren, you know. There was also another theory that maybe Sabine Wren's immediate access to medical attention helped save her life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
so they did get there right then.
Yeah.
I kind of don't buy because Qui-Gon died on the spot. He died maybe what?
Yeah, but like Qui-Gon's body was dead for a while, right? Before I guess whatever they did with it afterwards. But like Qui-Gon was dead for a while, whereas like with Sabine, they were right there.
Yeah. I remember even in
also,
the moment
we didn't see specifically where Qui-Gon got stabbed. We saw specifically
it was a gut.
She got stabbed on the side.
No, hers was to the gut. Hers was. I mean, but think about it.
It was in that magical movie spot on the side, on the stomach. It's in the magical movie spot. Anytime in a movie you see somebody get stabbed on the torso at the bottom left, they're fine.
Yeah.
That might be.
They'll be back in a couple hours.
I always
I'm good.
I always thought, especially in like movies and cinema, like gut shots were fatal. Like if you got shot in the gut, like that's a terrible way to go. You know,
if you get shot, that's one thing, but like stabbing, I mean specifically,
ran through with the lightsaber.
Well, actually,
you know what I mean?
You know what? I was actually watching Star Trek Beyond earlier today, and you remember in Star Trek Beyond when Spock was like had that fucking piece of shrapnel hanging out of his bottom left.
Mm-hmm.
He was fine.
He's fine.
He's fine.
Bottom left. Bottom left.
He lived.
You're good.
So there was
it's also empty there. There's nothing there.
There's no organs.
There's nothing there.
The person who was theorizing. The person was theorizing was saying that Qui-Gon's abdomen shot was more to the center where it could have severed his spinal column. Maybe that's why he passed away. Because did you guys think in the moment that Sabine got stabbed? So you had already seen Rebels, so you knew she wasn't going anywhere. You know, like she was an important character. They can't kill off Sabine Wren in the first episode of Ahsoka. You know,
I didn't think they. I was as surprised as you were to see her get stabbed. So yeah, in that moment, I was like, "Oh shit, what happened? What's going on?" Yeah, but I didn't think she died. Because I saw she got stabbed to the left, so I knew she was fine.
I didn't. I was surprised to see her the next episode. I was like, "Wow, she's okay."
Yeah.
She lived.
Hey, keep an eye on that. Any movie you watch, anything going forward, if they get stabbed in the bottom left,
yep,
just watch.
Damn, there might be something to that, Juice. I might need to look at that. I might need to notice that shit next time, man. Damn.
I forgot where I picked that up, but I kept seeing niggas get stabbed and surviving and shit.
I don't know if I believe it, but maybe that's like a little plot thing. You know?
But there's also a caveat to that though. If the character gets shot or stabbed in the same spot, in the same magical spot, but doesn't reveal it until after everything is settled down.
Then they're dead. Right. right. So you have to say ouch immediately. If you say ouch later, you're dead. Like it's over. You've already sacrificed yourself.
That's like one of those cinema sins, right? Like in movies when you see somebody clutching somebody like in wartime, like you don't kill that person. You know what I'm saying? Like if my friend dies on the battlefield and I'm cradling his dying body, you got to shoot around me. You can't shoot.
Like that. He's good. He's good.
Time out. They're cradling.
It was like in The Last of Us. It was like in The Last of Us with the kid, right? You remember when he got bit? He didn't tell nobody until like everything was calmed down and he went to bed. And he's like,
I'm like, bro, you gonna wait till you get in bed to tell me this shit? Yep. Get ready to lay down and go to sleep.
That's how it goes. But yo, hey, about that though, I was thinking.
Show me that.
So in a way, the Force.
Like, bro, you serious? Come on, man. You knew about this shit before we got in here.
And then he had the nerve to ask, like, "Can you stay with me?" She's like, "Ah,
hell no! You gotta get the fuck out."
Man, that scene is so sad, man. That scene hurt my heart, man. It hurt my heart. I was so sad.
It did hurt my heart, man. But it's just like, God damn, it's such a fucking trope. Like,
badass.
Don't reveal your zombifying wound until the last time.
And I knew it, man. I know somebody got bit here.
If you don't reveal it, it's not real. It doesn't happen in movies.
That's got to be like one of the worst ways to go, right? To get that zombie bite and just wait to change. That shit sucks. I'm like, damn, man. What goes to your head
off
when
yourself.
you know you're about to turn to a zombie?
Especially with Ellie being immune, just watching so many people like change.
But yo, I wanted to bring up something about Qui-Gon. So I heard before that it was the Force essentially that killed Qui-Gon, mainly for the reason you stated, D, was like a stab lightsaber wound can be survivable, right? But I heard that the Force killed Qui-Gon essentially because, and this is like what if lore. What if Qui-Gon had survived to train Anakin? Because part of the saying or what I've heard is that like one, Qui-Gon didn't really follow the he was known as a rebel within the Jedi Temple, and that like he might have been the father figure Anakin would have needed in order to help keep him on a positive path.
Yeah,
he would have had the understanding. He would have had the actual faith in the Force. He would not have adhered. I don't think he probably would have participated. I really don't think Qui-Gon would have participated in the Clone Wars. He would not have. Knowing him, knowing everything we know about Qui-Gon, he would not have participated.
I think maybe out of duty, he might have been
No,
drawn into it.
So
Qui-Gon has
think he
been
would've
known
liked
to
it.
like just drop off,
so
and
what-
he's been known to like do crazy things because essentially the Force told him to, right?
Yeah.
Like
so
I feel like, yeah.
can I ask, what do you mean the Force killed him? Because this is really interesting. Like, what do you mean the Force killed him? Was it literally like the Force is an entity that was just like, yo, this nigga gotta die?
Well, if we think about like, I mean, in a way, right? Because, I don't know. Like, it's like saying like he was destined to die, essentially. Like he could not have. Essentially,
Similar in the way
that train of thought is just is the impetus for the what if, right? What if
Similar in the way that
he had trained Anakin
was
instead
destined to
of
be
instead of Qui-Gon, because Qui-Gon he was still learning. The thing was just a Padawan. He didn't have all the answers that probably would have been necessary to keep Anakin.
Okay.
Yeah, Obi-Wan. I'm sorry. Yeah, to keep Anakin on the straight and narrow. He was like a brother, as opposed to Qui-Gon, who would have been like a father figure, right? But as far as the Force killing him, I mean, you know, the Force works in mysterious ways. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes the Force says you gotta go. It's time to go.
Because we all know that the Force is like the biggest MacGuffin in movies, period, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Like,
true.
the Force can be literally anything, and everywhere, all the time. And it could be.
So if the Force was like, I need to make this prophecy come true in order to bring balance to the universe, then this righteous ass nigga can't be here.
Yeah, like this is destiny, so he's got to go.
Yeah, you can't. You found him. Good job. And you got him in again. Good job.
This is where the journey ends.
Thanks for your service.
That's interesting. Oh shit. Okay.
Also, remember, Qui-Gon was the one that taught Yoda, who taught every. Yeah, it's a theory out there.
Oh shit. Okay.
But Qui-Gon was the one that essentially taught Obi-Wan and Yoda how to do the Force Ghost.
Oh yeah.
He did say he learned that from Qui-Gon, yeah. I think Yoda said that, right? Yeah. That he learned
and he taught Yoda as well. And I find it crazy that nobody was Force ghosting before Qui-Gon.
I'm sure that had to be someone. Maybe
that's plot armor. That's plot
maybe. Okay, there was Sith, but that's not Force ghosting. That's like possession.
Yeah. And I know
like
Frank
Ragnar Magnos.
Frank had kind of asked, you know, is this the best Star Wars fight we've gotten is this the best lightsaber fight we've gotten in Star Wars? And I think, yes, it probably is for the moment. Like for the moment that it was, because it had been so long since we had a Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I think Anakin and Obi-Wan obviously is a very close second. And this might be controversial, but I think the fight in the throne room in The Last Jedi.
Yeah, that was
That
good.
was a good fight. Yes.
That was good.
Also,
It was cool.
Anakin versus Dooku in the hangar. At the end,
that fight was literally like 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was short.
I know, but it was dope. And then Yoda popped up,
and Anakin had the two lightsabers for like literally one of those. Yeah, which was cool.
Hey, he bitched the shit out of Anakin in that joint, man.
Oh yeah,
he did. I love that shit.
Anakin in Episode 3 just bitched him right back.
True.
Anakin sealed the deal.
And that was years in between, though. That was years in between too, right?
Yeah, he said I've been training. Like I've gotten better.
My powers
like, show me. And it pisses me off because I think I sent y'all the link, right? Like of what the fight that was supposed to be, the choreography. That was. We didn't get that we got the short because I know Christopher Lee's mad old. I mean, he's rest in peace, but like he was mad old at the time, so he couldn't do the choreography.
Yeah.
But
kind of makes you wonder, like, why not just get a stunt doubled if you want him to do? But I guess they wanted the zoom ins and the close-ups.
Yeah, they wanted to do close-ups because that scene, because of what happens at the end, is really pretty important for you to see the guy's face most of the time.
I give Dooku props. He didn't scream when Anakin cut his hands off. I know that. Damn.
No.
Sliced his hands
that
off.
That was smooth too, right? You remember that? That was smooth. You just like hands right off. I'm like, oh.
Did you blame Anakin for killing him? I didn't blame him. At that moment, I'm like, Dooku needs to be taken out.
I think it was partially that we all knew that this was like Anakin's descent into the dark side.
But even when Anakin had a little pushback, he was like, I shouldn't. The council should decide his fate. I'm like, no, enough. End this shit, okay?
Well,
like you're in.
I feel like it was expected. I feel like it was more expected.
Yeah, it was expected.
Rather than like, I don't blame him, but I just felt like it was expected.
I didn't vilify him at all for killing Dooku. Like, okay, yeah, move
on.
Oh
no, I definitely vilified him because that was the wrong thing to do.
The first evil thing,
I don't think
the first evil thing that Anakin did, well, obviously, was kill Mace, but it was the younglings. That was the irredeemable part, you know.
Yeah,
you can kind of talk your way around Mace.
Killing in general.
You're not.
Younglings, dude. They couldn't even defend themselves. You know?
Like, you don't kill somebody who can't defend themselves.
Talk about dishonor, you know, and to let Obi-Wan see it, man. It's like, God damn, I can't forgive you for that, you know.
Like, if Anakin would have killed Dooku in the midst of the fight, then that'd have been one thing. But he had essentially disabled him.
He had the upper hand.
And then just decided to go that last step. That was the villain move.
He was the head of
that was that choice.
Like, end it, you know, like. So Grievous was still alive at that point, right? Yeah, because Obi-Wan killed him later on.
Alive, yes.
Dooku was too important of a piece. He had to kill him. I didn't think that was an evil act by Anakin, even though he knew he shouldn't do it.
At that point, it was.
No. At that point, because he had him captured.
Yeah,
he had him captured. Like,
but you know,
like Dooku's role was done. Also, Dooku's role was done. Palpatine didn't need him anymore.
Obi-Wan and and Palpatine and Anakin had to escape the ship. I don't have time to worry about another prisoner who don't even have hands. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about my own survival at this point, you know? So we have to go, you know, remember they fell down the elevator shaft and the ship tipped, and I don't have time to take a prisoner with me. Slice his head off, be done with it, you know? I didn't blame Anakin. I
don't know.
I just felt
like
it was expected because we all knew what was going to happen. We all knew that this Anakin was going to descend into darkness. So
especially the way Palpatine just kind of easily convinced him. Like he put up a little bit of pushback, but
because Palpatine is the man behind the man, right? He's the man behind the man. So him being a Sith Lord, he sensed Anakin was like Anakin was already gone.
Mm-hmm.
He knew Anakin was already gone. He just needed to push him more and more and more to get him to be his pupil.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know,
which I heard
it seems like Palpatine saw all of this coming, but he sensed the force. The force in Anakin was strong. It was strong and it was evil. And he's like, "Oh, I like this boy."
I saw once that somebody had said that they thought that in episode 3, they thought that Anakin's descent into madness was kind of rushed, you know, kind of like a Daenerys Targaryen kind of thing, right? Because even at that point when he killed Dooku, he decided to save Obi-Wan, so you could still see the good in him. Even when he betrayed Mace, he knew he messed up, so he was still good, you know. So it was kind of a quick turn for you all of a sudden to go kill younglings. All these people that you've grown up with and you've dedicated your life, and you just
I kind of agree with that.
The killing young things could have waited.
Like I think like they didn't put enough focus on Anakin's descent until episode 3. Like episode one, he was this cute little innocent kid. You know, he was just there. He was just there to introduce the character. Episode 2 was about the Clone Wars. He did kill the Sand People, but they were ugly as shit anyway. So we didn't really. And they had his mom. They abducted his mom. You know,
it was excusable. It was still wrong.
It was wrong, yeah.
But
it was excusable.
I agree with that. I felt like episode 3 was the only time that we actually like focus on him descending into darkness and becoming Darth Vader eventually. Right.
Yeah,
it did seem like a switch where he was like kind of doing some bad reckless shit, and then all of a sudden he goes like full leap off the cliff and kills kids.
Marching a platoon into the Jedi temple that you've lived in. You know, you have friends there, family.
Yeah,
you know?
you're right. I think I do agree with that. You know,
I agree
like
with
I'm
that.
trying to think like what was I don't remember from the movie. Like what was the impetus for him making that switch? What had
Palpatine.
happened?
Palpatine
Was just like
He
Order
was having
66,
visions.
let's go, and that
He's
was
been
it.
having visions of Padme dying, and I guess maybe it was driving him mad a little bit. You know,
Palpatine literally tell him, like, you have to prove yourself. You have to prove yourself to swear your allegiance to me, and I need you to go do something. And what I need you to do is destroy the Jedi Temple. Like, anyone that's in that room, kill them all. And so he kills the kids.
You know what? I don't think they spend enough time on the relationship between Anakin and Palpatine.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think that's one of the missing parts.
That's true too.
They didn't. I guess they just didn't have it, but like Palpatine was in his ear for years, having him do missions, having him do side stuff, like getting between him and Kenobi. Like Palpatine was amazing. We know it from the show, like from the Clone Wars show. Palpatine was always up in the mix, messing stuff up, right? Trying to just pull his allegiance. And I guess like in the movies they just didn't have all that content.
I mean, Palpatine in the movies doesn't even show up until episode 2.
Yeah, true.
Like, and then he's not even like Palpatine yet at this point, right? I mean, sorry, he's not Sidious at this point.
He's not Sidious,
right? Or he's not showing himself to be. He's just like, politician Palpatine, Senator Palpatine, right? And then he finally shows his true colors at the end of episode 3.
Yeah,
and it's like and even in episode 3, he wasn't in it that much.
So good.
And as far as like lightsaber battles, I know it was short, very short, but that fight between Palpatine and Yoda
everybody was flipping out about that scene too.
Yeah,
I remember
that was awesome.
Everybody was talking about that scene too. People were like, "Yo, I can't tell you what happens, but oh my god!" And I'm like, "What the fuck? What do you mean?" And then when Yoda moves the lightsaber like with the Force to his hand, I'm like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Just that whole,
it's about to go down.
The Senate meeting room, just the way they have the floating pods that come in, like that whole setting was just beautiful, man. Some of the most gorgeous sets ever, man. Didn't they show the Senate meting room in The Mandalorian as well? They did, and I didn't like it. I remember they did like a big auditorium. I was like, that's not the Senate meeting room. Like, where's the floating?
Wait, what?
Remember, they had the scientist that had defected from. And remember, the girl betrayed him at the end, like scrambled his brains or some shit. Yeah, it was short.
I don't remember the Senate room.
It was in, I think season 2 of The Mandalorian. Are they making a season 4? Are we gonna get a season 4?
I think I heard they're gonna make it a movie.
Yeah, I did hear it's gonna be a movie. Yeah, I did hear it. Do you know that Pedro Pascal wasn't even there for a lot of the shooting of The Mandalorian? He recorded his voice because they didn't show him outside of the helmet.
Yeah,
I'm like, all these little movie shits. I thought he was there, man.
That's a smart thing to do.
So I think he dropped off.
Guys in that suit.
I think that's why they're making it a movie, right? Because he dropped off to do The Last of Us. I think they were like dragging their feet on The Mandalorian season 4, so they had to change course. So they're going to do it, but the actor is not going to be Pedro Pascal. I think he's just going to do the voice. I think he's just going to do the voice, which I guess he wasn't doing anyway. So, yeah.
Anyway, Star Wars is probably one of the greatest franchises.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to talk about that scene, guys. Like, I don't know, that scene for me is still like just amazing. Go ahead.
Right, you got to finish Ahsoka. There's some good fights. Like stylistically, the fights between Baylan Skoll and Ahsoka are great.
Okay. I like Baylan's style. It was like old knight kind of style.
I love that shit, man.
Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah,
I really like that. Like when I was playing Jedi Fallen Order, not Fallen Order, the new one. What's the new one?
Survivor.
When I was playing Survivor, dude, I stayed with that broadsword
The
style. Like,
broadsword, yeah.
yeah,
I
I
didn't like it at
love that
first.
style, man.
I didn't like it at first because it was too damn slow.
You hit
But by
that,
the
you hit
end of the
that
game, I
parry.
was using the
Wow.
double, the two blades, and I was
Oh
using the
yeah, that's cool
broadsword.
too. And like they really like focus on the different styles of swordplay, like
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
which is like really cool. Like
And I like
so Balin.
I liked reading about that too in the Darth Bane novels, like
Okay.
because like developing like the 7 styles. Is it 7 or 6
Yeah.
Yep,
or
there's a
8?
bunch of
7 or 8
different
styles, but there's like 7 styles, 7 different styles of lightsaber dueling, which is cool.
different
So
stances.
yeah, and there's
Yeah,
like
see, and that's why I don't think they
Jim
need to
So,
rehash.
Shin, Ataru, so
They
much
don't need
shit.
to rehash any stories, like because even like the book lore, I know they said it's not canon, which I don't agree with. Corporations being able to decide what's canon, like the fans decide what's part of the story and what's not. Like you can't give me all these books and these novels and then say, oh no, that stuff don't count anymore. You know, like come on, man, that's part of
the creators absolutely have the right to decide what's canon or not, man.
they
like
the
like
people, the
we
creators are not the ones deciding what's canon. It's the people who bought the rights to it. You know, like once Disney bought the rights to Star Wars, next thing you know, a bunch of stuff that was in the books isn't canon anymore. You know, so
yeah.
But it has to come up to one point. It
I
can't
don't
just
agree with that.
be
Like you
anybody.
can't buy your way into what the story is. You know,
They still
the story is
exist. You
the
can still
story.
enjoy them. You can still compare, but it's like
Like the
I don't
Matrix
know.
Resurrections, it exists, so you have to acknowledge it that it's part of the Matrix movie series, right? But you know,
Unless you
we
get
decide
retcon.
what's good or not. You know,
Yeah, they need to retcon that movie immediately.
no, that shit is
Retcon that shit.
Unfortunately, but maybe fortunately because of the way those movies work, it is canon. But like it could also not be because a movie like that is very easy to retcon, right? Like it didn't exist or it all happened in the Matrix, so we could just delete it or shit like that. So
I gotta say, I was on board in the very beginning when they were dropping he's a programmer, he's a video game designer. I was like, okay, where's this going? Okay, they're rewriting the Matrix in the Matrix, so it's part of the story is them. Okay, where's this shit gonna go?
I knew before going in that movie was going to be awful. I just did not think it was going to be that fucking bad.
Shit was so bad.
I didn't know it was gonna be that bad.
That has to be one of the worst movies for the hype that was behind it. I was so hyped for that movie.
There's so much that went into the previous 3 that they just forgot about or just didn't care to include. Like, just everything about it was just off. So
look, I know we're at almost 2.5, and we gotta do "Am I the Asshole?" But yo, I did want to mention real quick. I saw the trailer for the new Kong and Godzilla movie at the Aquaman the other night, man. Look at the trailer when y'all get a chance.
I've seen that jump. I've been watching that jump every day.
That shit looks so good. Like, give it to me. I remember Juice was talking about the kaiju fight. Like, you'd like a good kaiju fight, you know?
Oh man,
like,
yes. Yo, you know what kaiju fight I watched recently? Randomly, but the kaiju fight in Moon Knight. I don't know. That was just a cool fight.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Random ass kaiju god fight. That was a kaiju fight, man. Yeah. You didn't watch Moon Knight yet?
My bad. I think I tried to watch like the first episode. I don't like watching too many shows at once. I like to watch a show to completion, then jump to
finish
another
it. I'm the same way with video games and everything.
Oh yeah, I don't know how people balance. Frank, I did get to the end of Spider-Man, Frank. You know, it was funny. After the last cast, remember I asked you, did we get Green Goblin? And then right after that cast, I hopped on, and that's when Venom appeared. I said, oh shit. Yep. Yeah, okay. All right, I see what Frank was talking about. God damn. Yep. You know, I gotta say, I think I liked the first one a little better, only because of the number of villains. Like the threat was like immeasurable in that first one. You know.
Yo, listen. Fucking, I love all of the cinematics in that game, but there's that one part. There's the one part, you know the part I'm talking about. There's the one part where you switch characters and you get to play as, you know who I'm talking about.
All right, I'm taking
Yes. You're running out trying to get out the building.
Bro, that entire fucking sequence made my year. Like, fuck.
It was cool. It was.
That was so good. It felt really good.
I think I just got hyped up on the like you're teasing me with these villains, like you showing me Harry and all that, and then I'm thinking like Hobgoblin and Chameleon. Okay, where is it?
Well,
Give it to me.
we had a lot of those villains in the
Yeah.
first one, and I feel like in this one, it's concentrated solely on Venom.
And they kind of maybe they wanted to save some of these villains for future DLCs or the next game. And,
exactly. You saw with the Insomniac leak that they're coming out with 3 DLCs this next year.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, they definitely. I mean, this game, Spider-Man, is one of those games that like just come out with a DLC, you'll sell 1 million more copies. People that didn't already have it.
Well, because Spider-Man's been eaten for the past like 10 years.
It's a shame. I want to get every one of those DLCs.
Spider-Man's been eaten for the past 10 years, or at least the past 5. He's been eaten, so I'm not mad at that. So.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Yeah, it was good though. It was good, man. I liked it. So,
but yeah, you want to do? Am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Shit, we didn't talk majors. It's too much going on.
We could do that. That's fine. That's pretty important. I think.
God bless his soul, man. I mean, we can mention him for 5 minutes if you want. Like, it's not really too much to say.
5 minutes.
All right, so let me just say, so Jonathan Majors was found guilty. He was convicted of 2 of the 4 charges. I'm trying to remember what it was. One was aggravated assault in the 3rd degree, and the other was stalking.
Hang on, I don't think it was stalking.
I think I put it in the chat. I'm trying to pull it up. It was aggravated assault in the 3rd degree. Oh, sorry. Reckless, not aggravated. Reckless assault in the 3rd degree, and a non-criminal charge of harassment as violation. So harassment and reckless assault in the 3rd degree. So the response, I guess, was that Disney dropped him.
Like
immediately, an hour later. They're like, "Yeah, he's out."
An hour later, because I mean, they probably had 2 different press releases prepared, depending on the verdict, right? They had the one where like, "Hey, we're keeping them," and then the one where like, "Hey, we're getting rid of them." So,
and I guess the reaction. So I've seen the reaction in the media have been only talking about what Disney did, right? Now, black media, the reaction I've seen is essentially, and this is just what I've seen so far, but essentially that this is kind of just what happens when you mess with.
When you mess with white women. Hey, but we said this last time. We talked about this last time. His career is over. Career is over.
Well,
I think he can bounce
Here's
back.
the thing. Let me say, I think he can bounce back. Yeah, I agree. I think these 2 charges are so, they said at maximum would be a year in jail, and these are both non-criminal charges. Yeah, they're both non-criminal charges, but he was convicted of them. Yeah, and I feel like yes, the blow that he's losing this Disney deal is definitely going to be a major one for him personally. But I think that he can recover from this. It's just gonna. He might be a B-rate actor. He might be he's not gonna have the same status he has now. At least unless he hits something crazy, really good in the zeitgeist of America, in American media. Unless he does something just blows everybody's mind.
I think that speaks to
Matrix, whatever. But
the powerhouse that Marvel is, his association with Marvel, and the fact that They are
The
family
influence they
movies. Like he was becoming a household name, you know,
Mhm.
and it sucks, man, because like one of the most
He's gonna
exciting
be Michael
moments
Jai Whited. That's what happened.
one of the most
have.
exciting moments in
Worse.
Phase
Worse.
4 was Kang at the end of, is it Quantumania, when they have the whole
Mhm.
arena full of Kangs? That
Yeah.
was probably one of the most intriguing moments in Marvel post Endgame. Like you were wanting to see where this was going to go. You know, like it just sucks for the fans. I hope they don't
It
scrap
does. Yeah.
everything as far as Kang. And I don't know Jonathan Majors person. I don't know if he's a good person, like in his heart, you know. But I don't think he should serve any jail time. I mean, it was a domestic
No,
dispute.
I don't
It
think he
wasn't as
will. I
bad as
doubt
Ray
it.
Rice. Remember that whole Ray Rice thing where he knocked his girlfriend out and
Oh,
dragged
yeah.
her unconscious outside the elevator and shit? It wasn't that, you know. Like they
Jesus
had a
Christ.
domestic squabble. You have to control your emotions. That's where he failed. He didn't control himself physically. You know, it's all
Are you
right to
talking
yell
about?
and point. And,
Okay.
well, the part where he tried to pick her up and shove her back in the car. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
I feel like that's the point where he was like, "Fuck, I got to get away," because
I
He
think
she
ran.
that's
was pushing him to that point,
yeah.
and he was like, he was trying to get away in the first place, and then he was like, "No, don't follow me. Get back in the car." So he tried to put her back in the car, and he was like, "Fuck,"
The
and
second
then
he
he started
touched,
running.
her, that was it.
I think that was it. That was
Yeah,
the moment. Like
that was it, right? That yeah, you called that last time, D. You were like, "Yeah, like it's gonna be because of that," you know. I feel like a lot of people didn't think that he would get convicted, but yeah, man, I think we all called it here. It was like, yeah, this is how the industry kind of works. Um,
and we were saying in the chat, like high profile case in New York City. I mean, the Big Apple, that prosecutor wanted this one bad. This not because he's necessarily guilty, but because of the cachet that comes with having that win on your resume. You know what I mean? And like they were going to pull out all the stops. You know, wasn't there a time where the girl wanted to take back the charges or renege the charges or something
mhm.
like that? Maybe the prosecutor convinced her, hey, listen, you guys are having problems
You push
anyway.
forward,
I
you're
think
gonna
we need
win.
to pursue this. You can win this. You can get some money. You can live lavishly. You know, maybe there was a time where they convinced her. Man, it does suck. It sucks for the fans, like I said, because that's all we know of Jonathan
I don't know if
Majors. We
there's
see his
any
work.
money in this for her,
Well, I don't know. I don't know if
because
they
I think
came
that would have been the
condescending.
payoff, right? If there was a payoff, then yeah, like maybe she could have got some money, or but this went to
I think
trial.
maybe there will
There's
be a
no like
settlement.
compensation. As far as I'm aware, there was no compensation that was awarded, and
There could be a
I
settlement.
think there
There
was
could
a
be a settlement
fine
awarded. There could be a settlement awarded even in the trial.
after the fact, after the
Yeah,
conviction.
yeah.
It
After conviction,
Okay.
could be a case where
yeah.
like they say, hey, you can either
Could be a
pay
Well,
this
part
ultimately,
of.
I don't think there should be. Like, I feel
or
like
face
when you
jail
get
time. You know?
charged for two non-criminal offenses, like, I guess it depends on the damage that was done.
It also
Like, if it was
depends.
accidental,
It also
but
depends on. It also depends on what was agreed to as far as court proceedings. Like it could
Mhm.
be like what all
Let
we
me look
know
at
of
this.
is the verdict, but like it could also be like she wanted compensation for damages to I don't know, defamation of character, like I don't know, like damages to her car when he slammed her into the door, or I don't know, some shit. But
Who
like
knows? His,
they're like, or it could just be like straight legal fees, right? She wants her legal fees paid for by him, or something. But there can absolutely be compensation there.
Yeah, it sucks, man. They
let me
said
see.
that Marvel in November, Marvel hired Loki creator Michael Waldron to work on a new draft of what was once called Kang Dynasty.
Now
They
it's
said
just
Marvel
Avengers
could.
5.
Avengers 5, pretty much. They said Marvel could recast the role, but they don't know how many actors would be attracted to a role from which the previous actor was fired so publicly. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't
Man,
know about that.
I don't think
It's
that means
Marvel.
anything. I
Me
think there's gonna
neither.
be
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
there's gonna be a bunch of
I think it'd be
niggas
dudes
just
lined
like
up around the
breaking
block.
down their door, like
Oh
give the
shit, you
role
don't
to
want it?
me.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He got fired. I'll
I
take
heard,
it.
I heard,
I'll
a,
take it
I
any
heard
way.
pointed out. Somebody said that Boyega had like put him. There was like an art piece out of like him as Kang or whatever.
John Boyega.
Yeah, I
I
don't
feel
know.
like
Maybe
I don't.
I saw memes of like mad people who could do it. There were some people who were saying like the guy that played the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy can do it.
hmm
There was also a
I don't
meme.
know
There
if
was
he has the stature of a
High
Jonathan Majors, but his,
evolutionary.
his acting
Who's the
he's
prowess.
high
got the
evolutionary?
acting. Yeah,
Oh, wait, who was that?
Guardians 3. Did you see Guardians
The
3?
Oh
main
shit, I
villain.
still never saw that. I
Oh
still haven't
damn,
watched
dude.
it.
Juice. That's
I
one of the
won't watch
best
that
Marvel
joke.
movies.
I
That's one of the better
know.
movies of
But
Phase 4.
but did you
Evolutionary
watch
Marvel
Peacemaker? Did you watch
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker on HBO? He was one of the crew in
Mm,
Peacemaker.
nope.
So
I
what
didn't
what
watch
was a better movie
Peacemaker.
to you, Frank? Spider-Man,
What
No
is
Way
he?
Home, or Guardians 3?
No Way Home.
I'd say No Way Home too, but Guardians 3 is not far behind, man. It was
Guardians 3
emotional.
was really good. It's
It
really
called on
good.
everything you knew from the
But
other Marvel movies.
but
Everything was there.
Spider-Man to me was on another level in its own way, man.
I
Like
think it was better too.
Spider-Man just it personally hit me, and like it's cheating. Like it hit me in the nostalgia straight up. Like I saw three. I've watched all three of those motherfuckers play Spider-Man over 20
Mhm.
years, and to see them together interact in the way that they did, their chemistry was palpable. It was wild,
It
and it's
was though,
still wild to me to this day to see that. Like
Yeah.
and
what were they
even the
thinking?
Goblin,
Yeah, like
even the
the
Goblin in
villains
there brought back
too.
memories.
Like
Yeah,
the villains coming back the way they did, and I'm like, I just want to like find the writers and shake them. I'm like,
it's
what were
kind of
you
amazing
thinking?
that they could even get that project off the ground. Like the amount of things that had to come together to make that movie.
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx and Sony had to work with. I mean, like there had to be no egos in the room when they decided to come together and make that movie.
yeah. Spider-Man. Like there were so many things about Spider-Man that just hit me so hard. Like my favorite part in the whole movie was when Andrew Garfield saves MJ because that was like his second shot.
Yeah,
That was his
yeah.
second chance to save Gwen, to do it right. Because
hmm
he's torturing himself every day about how he could have done that differently in his way.
That
And he
moment was
finally
crazy.
had the chance. He must have practiced it over and over and over in his mind and literally physically. So like to see him do that, that was a huge redemption moment for him. And that alone will like trump anything Guardians of the Galaxy 3 threw at me,
I don't know. I,
because that
I, Me personally, I remember Guardians being like pleasantly surprised by Guardians because Guardians 2 came out and it wasn't quite as good as the first one.
no, it
And
wasn't.
Marvel
Yeah.
had been on the slide, like inconsistent slide during the phase, and then sitting in the movies for Marvel's 3, and I was like, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I was like,
Yeah,
this movie is
Guardians,
emotional.
especially if you're an animal lover, like it's hard to watch. Like like
Dude,
it's hard
that
to
part
watch,
when
but
they
and
had like all the
that's how
pieces
emotional
together.
it gets you. It's hard to watch, man. Like it's tough,
That,
man. Like it's a really good movie. It's a
yeah,
really, really good
Spider-Man is
movie.
better though. It is better.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I give the S to Spider-Man for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Now a harder question for me would be like, which better, Across the Spider-Verse or Spider-Man No Way Home? I would obviously say Across the Spider-Verse, but like it's hard because No Way Home is just like really fucking good,
I don't
and it
know.
took
I
20
think
years of nostalgia.
Across the Spider-Verse and even the first one, I think those are just kind of different because, like, stylistically, they're so different, and it's like a treat for the eyes, and it's a good story. I mean, like every shot is like colorful and it's changing, and it just looks. I don't know. I don't even know if I could. It's fair to compare those two movies to like Marvel,
There's
especially Phase 4. I don't know if that's
for
fair.
me like there's a lot more, there's way more nuance in Across the Spider-Verse than there is into the Spider-Verse or No Way
Mhm.
Home. Like in Across the Spider-Verse, like we see a true villain story unfold right before our eyes, right? Like we see like in Into the Spider-Verse, we had Spider-Man come to Miles's world, and Across the
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Verse, we have Miles actually going out to their worlds. He goes to 3
Mm-hmm.
different worlds, and it's
I
like,
like
yo, this is great. I love it. It's like Kingdom Hearts, right? You're
I
just
like
going to
the
different
attempt
worlds,
to.
unlocking them and shit like that. So, and his like his art style remains the same, but like there are other things that are like crazy nuanced, like Spider Punk, right?
Mhm.
Spider
Yeah.
Punk, my man is switching palette styles every second,
Yep.
right? Like, and it's because he doesn't conform. He's nonconformist. He doesn't conform to any one reality. He doesn't conform to any one idea. That's why he's constantly switching animation styles, and I'm like, holy shit! I'm like, who the fuck thought of this shit? Like, fucking, like, there's so many like little things and big things in that movie to me that trumps. That puts that movie over the top for me for like best Spider-Man.
That movie had layers, son.
Like layers upon layers. Even the score.
Oh my god, I'm still listening to that junk. I'm still listening to that. That goes on my playlist regularly.
You know what? I did like the Spider-Verse Easter egg in the video game.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I like that.
That was
man.
Cool.
It had a little Easter egg in there.
That's actually one of the DLCs that they're coming.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, that it was supposed to be a character in Across the Spider-Verse, right? But she never showed up. She never appeared. I said, "Damn, that was cool. It was unexpected." Oh shit!
Yeah,
they're referencing the Spider-Verse in here.
Yeah,
that's cool. But yeah, man, going back to majors, man, this sucks, man. Just keep your head up, man, and hopefully he bounces back, man. I mean, I think my Creed 3 was awesome. I mean, remember we were having a conversation about his magazine cover, and you know he was on the top.
I was thinking about that. Like, imagine like the irony of of the guy who we were debating whether or not like wearing pink was too feminine, right?
That was not the debate.
That he was being emasculated at that point in time, just to what was that, like 6 months later, a year later, maybe it was a year later.
I was like 6 months. Yeah.
Like 6 months later, all of a sudden, have this nigga targeted for domestic abuse.
Yep.
This should be a warning to especially every African American, but just every male actor. Just stay on your toes, especially in New York. Don't touch her. Don't shove her back in the vehicles. Please don't do it.
And remember, like, so do you guys remember there was this whole discussion about and I don't think we talked about it much, but remember there was a discussion about a phone call that he had left or she had recorded, and it was a discussion they were having when he was talking to her about he was talking to Jabari.
He's a great man.
About he wanted her to behave and how he's a great man, and like how he was like, look, you need to.
That was the
you know like
it was in the court proceedings. They played that call.
And there's like perspectives on the conversation when he was saying, if we're gonna do things, this is what I'm expecting, and this is what you can't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the act of essentially her doing those things, which he was like, there's two parts. One, he was like, look, you need to stop. You need to behave like a woman like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama. Like you need to behave on the caliber of these women. That's what I want from you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't be out here drinking and acting up and being drunk, then acting a damn fool, right? And then in the action of her doing that, like she was drunk, like they were out, and their behavior, I don't know, maybe not, but they were drinking, and she was under the influence, and that is literally what kind of what did this to this nigga. Like, one, yes, he did put his hands on her, and he should not have done that. So let me be clear on saying that. But at the same time, it's like it was that behavior.
It seems like that call was the smoking gun. It seems like that call was the smoking gun. Like that call
for putting me on his side of this, not the other way around, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like he was totally in line because I think that's let me say, I think that is a distinction that black people and white people are having. Because white people are like,
he's berating her.
How dare he? He's literally he's berating her.
He's berating her.
And I feel like my perspective is if I'm talking to my wife and we're discussing like things that we need to change, we're being very clear in our language.
Yeah, we're discussing expectations.
And what is and is not okay.
Yeah, that's
and you lay it out like you see it.
Exactly.
And how you want it.
There's 100% a huge distinction between black people and white people on this. because
Yeah.
it seems like that call, because when that call was released to the public, it seems like that call was a huge factor in the verdict. And I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't think he said anything out of line here. Like,
Right.
nothing crazy was said here. He just
Maybe Coretta Scott King was random, or Michelle Obama was random, but those are just people with status.
It was just him setting a clear expectation, because he said in the call too, he's like, I have a career. He's like, I'm a great man. I have this career. My shit with Marvel, I cannot let anything ruin that. I can't let anything jeopardize this. So I need you, if you're with me, I need you to behave in a certain way so I can keep doing what I'm doing. Mm-hmm. You know? Nothing wrong
it's
with
almost
that.
Like it feels like it's a prediction. Like, dude,
And you were saying like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama, those might have been random, but I think he's saying, and most people will probably, even the people that wanted him to be charged as guilty, understood. He's saying, carry yourself with dignity in class, especially when we're out in public, because I have to make my money through the public image, and I can't have the person I'm associating with acting a goddamn fool out in public, and you know.
And of course, you have poor white women crying. White women crying over the phone and saying like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and
I'm so sorry.
of course, the jury feels bad for her on that, because white women crying, "Oh, poor thing." And
I feel like also they didn't like that he was saying very concisely, clearly, "I'm a great man." There was a reaction to that.
Can't have a
that
black
people
man
were
be a
having,
great man, right?
Like he was saying, "I'm a great man," and the commentary I heard was like, he's so cocky.
Was he? Did he sound arrogant? I didn't hear the phone call. Did he sound arrogant when he was saying he's a great man? What did you think personally about it?
Actually,
I feel like in the context of the conversation,
I think
he was just saying how he felt.
I think he did sound arrogant, but I also agree with you, right? Where he was setting a clear expectation, based on his status and his career. I don't think there was anything wrong with what he said. Yeah, his tone was, I think his tone was just being more direct more than anything. Maybe a little arrogant, sure. Maybe with the whole Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama thing, maybe it sounded a little like hoity-toity, but like, honestly, there was nothing wrong with what he was saying. It was just him setting a clear expectation, and that's all it was. So I'm not even gonna put tone as a factor in what was being said. And I definitely don't agree with the fact that, again, this call was a huge factor in the verdict, because that's exactly what it seemed like. Because I had some white acquaintances of mine saying like, "Oh shit, like, man, bye Felicia, and get this man, this man thinks he's the MLK of acting." And I'm like, what the fuck are y'all talking about?
Yeah, what do you mean?
What did he say that was so wrong here? Like, there was nothing wrong with what he said.
I think when he was talking, like I said, I didn't hear the phone call, but maybe he never expected it to get to the public. And if he did,
no, this was recorded by her, like, without his knowledge.
He without his knowledge. That conversation to be heard to have people judging what he's telling her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe that could have led into some of the arrogance, right? Maybe he was drunk, and maybe he was just feeling, hey, I'm the breadwinner here.
Again, tone was not really a factor here. It was what was said. He didn't say anything hateful to her. He didn't say anything derogatory to her.
And he wasn't
diminishing
yelling
her character, and he wasn't really yelling. He was just being very clear. Very clear and concise, and like, this is what I expect from you. This is what I expect from you, because in my status, I want to keep that status. And if you're with me, then please understand that you have to act a certain way. And it's not like he was asking her to do anything demeaning, like he was just asking her to act right, to not act the fool when we're out together. On your own time, do whatever the fuck you want to do. But like,
yeah,
when we're together, please act this way.
He was like,
so that I can maintain this status for us, right?
He was like, don't come up in this house drunk acting a fool. And you know, I said he wasn't yelling, but like, when you're a black man and you're speaking to a white woman, speaking clearly is like yelling to a white woman.
Exactly, to white people. To white people. That's
what white people, yeah.
That's what it's misconstrued as.
If you speak clearly and directly, and you're not happy, you're not joyful and jovially doing it, they're like, "Why are you yelling at me?"
Mm-hmm.
It's interpretation.
Exactly.
I'm not yelling, telling you what the fuck is going on.
This is exactly what you need to hear. Is just an expectation that I have, and you're allowed to express that.
Mm-hmm. The only thing that I personally could fault Jonathan Majors on is just putting her hands when he shoved her back in the car. Like I said, I don't know what happened in the car. The deal didn't start there. But like I thought everything else, him running away.
Second he put his hands on her, assault instantly. Yep. Like
and that is why it is charged as reckless assault in the 3rd degree. I think that's the second lowest charge for assault you can get.
Yeah, I need to study law. So what's assault and what's reckless assault? Maybe I'll look it up and look it up.
Reckless is causing harm unintentionally.
And assault
she might have bumped her head when she was putting her back in the car or something.
Mm-hmm. He probably bumped the shit out of her head.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Damn.
But like it was unintentional assault, or was it unintentional injury? In the 3rd degree means, I think it's like an intention level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer.
Yeah, like 1st degree.
And then
anything 1st degree is like, that's the worst.
And harassment, which maybe he cursed at her.
Which was the phone call.
Oh, the phone call?
I think it was the phone call.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was the phone call, and then maybe what was said based on like the driver's accounts, and which they dismissed, and what he said, she said, and then they determined that they charged him for that, maybe in that instance too.
Yeah, and I know we gotta get the "Am I the asshole?" But like, I don't even know if Marvel should have dropped him. Like, we saw what happened. We can all understand domestic situations because we all go through them. Like, we're not all men beat women, especially black men, right? So maybe a lot of us wouldn't understand that part of him picking her up and shoving her back into the car, but we can understand. Like, we can empathize, we can forgive. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, listen. Not a lot of people are like you, and not a lot of people that are like you that work at Marvel.
Yeah.
And remember what we just said about, like, you know, a black guy speaking clearly being equated as yelling. Like,
that's always been how it is. That's always fucking been how it is, though, right? Like
if a black guy is not going to get the same treatment as a white person would get in the same scenario.
Right. Like, we always have to be fucking calm. We always have to think 2 steps ahead, because if we don't think 2 steps ahead, then that's our ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's unfortunate it happened. I mean, he had a lot of status, right? He had a lot of status riding on this, and like he made a mistake by putting his hands on her.
Yeah,
that's the clear mistake that he made here. But like,
but even that, I know, like, in the court of law is different from the court of public opinions. Like, we can forgive him for that. The audiences won't.
I think we can
abandon your movie because he's in it, because that happened. Like, we know what happened. We saw it. We know that things happen.
But
if
let's say
he's truly remorseful for what he did, we're going to be able to tell, and we'll still support Marvel. We'll still support Disney. You know what I mean?
Sure. But Marvel/Disney is a brand. And at the end of the day, they don't want anybody or anything fucking with that brand.
Like I said in the chat, they did stick with him, and that might have been because of the investment they had already made in him as Kang. But they stuck with him to the end.
They were just waiting for a verdict. To be honest with you, they were just waiting for the verdict. Once the verdict
they
happened,
had to
an hour later,
they probably needed a reason to drop him. It's
like when any team wins the Super Bowl or the World Series, right? Like, they have 2 sets of shirts and 2 sets of hats and 2 sets of like press releases, like depending on which team wins. Same thing with something like this high profile verdict. They have like a press release for, hey, he's innocent, or hey, he's guilty. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I feel like he can bounce back. But hey, if Mel Gibson can bounce back after, you remember them phone calls he had to his girlfriend, where his girlfriend like recorded him on y'all ever hear those, man?
Yeah, I heard some of them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mel
Yeah,
Gibson on YouTube. I know Mel Gibson's a white guy. It's different, I know. But
Mel Gibson
was directing movies after that. He was acting.
Mel Gibson's a white guy.
It's absolutely different.
Bro, it is absolutely different. But them phone calls were just, I was disgusted by Mel.
Me too. I used to really like Mel Gibson.
Talk about harassment.
He got away with way worse. And look at him now. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
Hopefully Jonathan Majors can bounce back, man. He was a good, and even when I was hating on him about the article, because like I said, I was thinking about that the other day, and you know, it wouldn't have necessarily been the pose and maybe the clothes that I would have worn. I lauded him for being on top of his game. He's taking advantage of his moment, and it was a big time in his career. And like you said, 6 months later, just be careful, man. Be careful. It sucks, you know.
Yeah.
Sucks, man. You got to know better. You got to know better, man. You think he was drunk? Was he drunk when all this happened? Was he drinking?
Yeah, he could have been drinking too. You know, if they were out, like if they were out, I don't know. He might have had a couple drinks.
You do crazy shit when you're drunk, man.
I mean, at this point, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Like, you know, that wouldn't have helped either way, right? If he was drunk or not, like it wouldn't have helped. Because it's what we see.
Shame, man. It's a shame, fellas, man. All right, man. Hey, we almost at 3 hours. It's 2:26. Y'all want to do this? Am I the asshole?
I mean,
I think I'm gonna call it for now.
Yeah.
Gotta get up. I have to get up, man.
There you go. Hey, this is probably the latest cast we've ever done.
It's 2:30 in the morning right now.
Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah, West Coast. It's still.
It's been a good cast, man. Hopefully, these are good tidings towards the cast in the future, right? We do a lot more of them. It's a nice way to roll into 2024, in and off the year with a cast, man. So it's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Anderson,
we're gonna do the next one in person. We're gonna do soon.
And it's an election year. So that should be fun. Follow that.
Yo, we gotta talk about election stuff.
No, bro, we're gonna follow that all the way up.
We haven't mentioned once that Cornel West is running for president.
Is it kind of a gimmick? Is he really gonna run for president?
We'll talk about it. He's already running. He's running.
I feel like
he is running.
Oh damn! There's another topic that I probably should have brought up today, but you know, next time is good. It's about
kind of intrigued now.
It's about our favorite Dr. Umar. So Dr. Umar was kind of spreading some bullshit the other day, where he was saying, so there's a rumor that Michael Jackson wanted to buy Marvel.
There's
a rumor that Michael Jackson, when he was still alive, wanted to buy Marvel. Before Marvel, you know, obviously Michael Jackson passed away like in 2007. Yeah, I think he was like 2007 when he passed away. Yeah. But like before Marvel, you know, whatever, he wanted to buy Marvel for the specific reason that he wanted to be able to start creating his own characters within Marvel. Mm-hmm. But Dr. Umar got it wrong. Michael Jackson, maybe at one point in time wanted to buy Marvel. But it was only for a share of Marvel, and it was only for it wasn't even for anything like crazy like he was talking about. I can go more into it next time, but it's one of those things where this is where the conspiracy starts, where he was just like, can you imagine that can you imagine a black man buying Marvel? So they didn't want him to buy Marvel because he was Michael Jackson, and then it started this whole thing about how they started to ruin his image because, you know, Marvel, because he wanted to buy Marvel, and I'm like, oh my god. So
I think Umar, he does do a lot of conspiracy theory stuff, especially lately. You know, I like Umar because I believe his sincerity for the the betterment and the empowerment of Black people. So I believe him.
I do too. I do
But
too.
he
This
has
is
been.
kind of wild.
You can tell
It's
he's
kind of
been
a
kind
reach.
of buying into his own hubris a little bit. Like he always says,
Yeah.
I'm the king of Pan African. Me. And it's like he seems a lot more, especially lately, especially like in his newer stuff. I used to listen to Umar a lot, like, but he does get kind of conspiracy theorist sometimes.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Especially with Michael Jackson, you always hear stuff like he owned the rights.
I don't always
to the
agree with
kill
his
him.
how he thinks things should be run or handled for Black people.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, you're right. He's always been like, now he's always a lot more like me. I, listen to me. I'll tell
I'm
you.
the king of Pan Africanism.
Those
I'm
are
the
always a
number
red
one
flag.
selling Black scholar, speaking Black scholar. Like, damn, everything is about you. But I believe that he wants better for Black people. I think I believe.
I believe
As
that
long as it
too.
makes a profit.
Yeah.
I believe that too.
I don't know.
It's just,
Okay, all right. I don't know if it's for profit.
We can
People were giving him
talk
shit about the school that he's starting up. They're like, "Yo, where's all the funds going for the school?" And But he posts on. So I follow him on Instagram and on YouTube. He posts a lot. So he's always talking about getting the duct work done inside and the HVAC, and he gives you a tour of the school. If you go on YouTube, he's got a tour of it. FDMG, Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. So I mean, I believe him. I believe in his sincerity, but he is kind of a kook lately. You know what I mean? Because he's
not,
me, and
like what would he be promoting in the school?
Well, he goes through like the
it's
curriculum that he's gonna. So he's saying that he wants to teach disenfranchised Black boys and girls like how to farm, how to cook, life skills, those type of things. Like, I don't think they're gonna necessarily follow like a public school curriculum where he's teaching them. Like, if he teaches history, he's going to teach African history. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to be
I think that's the gimmick. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a gimmick. I guess we have to wait and see.
Not a gimmick, but that's the catch.
If he's, and I think that's why they can't give him funding, because you have to teach a certain curriculum. And I think he only wants boys to be able to go to the school, right? So he can't get public funding for the school. That's why everything has to be donations. Because I think he wants to raise, his whole point is he's saying he wants to raise better Black men to be heads of, families and future generations for Black people. So I feel like his message
like
is
a recreational, like it sounds like a rec center, which is cool.
Juice have had talks about Umar before, and I know Juice has kind of always been at odds with Umar. And at first I
used to really like Umar back in the day.
He's a good speaker. Like, when he used to give his speeches, I used to be on it, like following his every line. But he is more arrogant seeming lately. You know what I mean?
I also just don't agree with all the stuff he's trying to push. Like he's actually really conservative.
Yeah. Like
the way he talks about like LGBTQ stuff, like
it seems hateful.
I can't get behind that. Like stuff like that I can't get behind if you're hating on people who are just trying to live their life. I don't give a damn. I can't get behind that.
Because he says that it's not hateful, but the way he's saying it seems hateful.
It's hateful.
It's like,
it's absolutely hateful.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how you say it. Doesn't matter how you say it. It's what you say. And it's
you doing hate shit. It's hateful. Yeah. Straight up. But yeah, I don't know. But yeah, man, next time we could talk like
definitely, because
we could talk definitely politics. Yeah, we could talk more Umar, because he actually said something. I hope I can find a video. There was a video I found on TikTok, and they're saying something which I agree 100% about. I'll see if I can find a video, and it's I think that would be an interesting topic as far as Black issues are concerned. But yeah, I want to talk about people running for president, whether or not Joe Biden is, whether or not it's over or not.
It's going to be a big year. Because
polling is bad. Polling is bad for Biden right now. Like, so it's a whole thing. But
I think he just happens to be the president in place when inflation is hitting.
The genocide is happening. No, I think it's a genocide.
People are tired, Yeah, I mean, genocide. Yeah.
Well, the inflation is actually, the economy is, inflation's gone down a bit. Like, I think it's what's happening with America in what's happening in Gaza and America backing it, like
Mhm.
I think a lot of that for like the normies, like normal people, I think when you see that stuff, you're just like, we probably shouldn't be funding that. I don't know. I mean, I guess it depends on how many people are actually seeing it, because I
I'm
see it
not
all
sure
over.
how
But
geopolitics works necessarily, right? Because like I don't know.
when a
I think
lot
the
of
logical
people,
thing would be
a lot of
why are we
civilians
focusing?
die, it's
Yeah,
a problem.
Yep.
yeah. Thank God
And
we're in
also, we were
America.
definitely about to slide into that next big ass war, because
Hmm.
I mean, internationally, I think we are at a head with, was it Yemen? And another country, is it Iraq? I don't know. Look, shit is going south. It's about to be a straight up battle in the Middle East. Like,
The business of America
they're
is
gonna
war.
take
That's why they
some
said that
soldiers.
the Vatican never truly died, right? Like the Vatican, its home is Vatican City. Its financial arm is in Britain, in England, and its military arm is the United States. You know, that's at least that's what the theory is. But I mean, the United States has proven them right because they bounced from one military conflict to the next. I mean, for the last 50
Mhm.
years, 60 years, like one after the other, you know, we're there.
Crazy
So
shit. The Vatican, the Pope came out and was like, "Yo, stop this shit. This is not okay." The Pope was like, "Biden is tripping," or Netanyahu is tripping, right? Like, this
I
is the
don't
new
know,
woke
man.
Pope.
I think there's some strings being pulled that we're just not privy to. We just don't know everything.
Oh
Compartmentalization.
yeah.
I think we're kind of only told what we need to know, and things happen for a reason, even if we don't understand it. You know, they'll say, "Oh,
Money.
we're in a military conflict in Gaza," and okay, and most of the American public is okay. You know, so we still got to go on with our day to day lives, and yeah, it sucks. It's
Well,
like
we're
common
not.
sense says.
I think you're right, man. I don't think people know.
I don't think any of us really know all of it. I think we know what we need to know, and business is business, man. It's billions of dollars exchanging hands, man. Like this is
Like America's
above
not
us.
in the conflict in Gaza.
We're there. You know, we're there. If
Our
not
money is
physically,
there. We fund Israel. We buy their
our influence
weapons.
is there. Yeah.
Our influence is allowing them to continue doing what they're doing, because we're not telling them to stop.
You know what? Joe Rogan
I
was
don't know.
saying.
Anyway,
You know those.
we
You
should.
know those. Just real quick, those weapons we left behind, and what did we pull out of Afghanistan? And now all of a
Mhm.
sudden you see these missile strikes on Gaza, and you know by these terrorists, and it's like, well, who's funding this? I mean, like, where did they get these weapons? And I don't know. I'm just saying. You know, Joe Rogan is kind of a conspiracy theorist too, so you got to take
Hamas
everything
is
he says with a grain of salt.
funded by. We know what we know who Hamas is funded by.
I think even if we
I
know
think
because
it's
we read it somewhere,
what's
I
the
don't think we
country?
know.
It's not Yemen, huh? It's no.
I
It's
think
funded by a whole country.
I think even if we read that they're funded by a country, we don't really truly know who funds them because we
Well,
don't
yeah, but
know
we
if
also
they
like read that the sun gives us heat, but like we don't
what is the entity of
truly know.
Hamas. How do we know where they get their
We
funding? We
read that
don't.
the dinosaurs lived a million
But
trillion years
there's a
ago, but we
difference
don't
between scientific
really
fact.
know.
There's a difference between scientific fact and geopolitics. You know what I mean? Like so, you
Is
know,
there?
if who funds Hamas is in a science book in a science journal, then maybe we can take it as scientific fact. But it's not.
We
It's in a
know
newspaper.
George Bush was the first
It's
president,
in an article on Twitter. You know,
but
so we don't
do we
know.
really know
Yeah,
who was the first president? I don't know. Anyway, I'm tired.
some slaveholder.
But we could definitely this and more
Hmm.
on the
Next up.
next installment.
It's gonna be
Oh,
a big year for the Intelligent Idea Talkers podcast, man. 2024, here we come.
is
Well,
it?
yep. All right, fellas, man, it's
All
gonna
right,
wrap us up.
gentlemen.
Yeah, man. Y'all take it easy. Hey, and it's y'all's fault for wanting to do this late cast, man. I see y'all going to sleep over there, man.
Our fault. You're the
All
one
right.
that was at the movies.
I was at the
We
movies.
waiting
Yeah.
for you.
Hated that shit.
we could have
I
been
didn't
done.
hate
We
it.
could have
I'm
been
gonna
done
watch it
at
though.
we could have been done at a decent time, 11
I
o'clock.
know, yeah. Cause y'all did want to start at like we could have been done at a godly hour out here, man. They got us up at the It's the hour of the
Could have been done
You know what I'm saying?
yesterday.
We had the witching hour at this joint, man.
All right, boys. Y'all be good, man.
All right, guys.
Hey, Happy New Year,
Yeah.
fellas. See you.
Happy New Year's, y'all.
Be good.
You.
Peace.
Welcome to the Intelligent Idea Talker podcast.